Thank you, Sal. And thank you, Debate Talk for You audience, for listening in. Now, as Sal told you, the title of tonight's class is The Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed. Again, the Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed. Now, I decided to do this class for a number of reasons. What many people may not realize, unless you've been following ABT for like the last 6 or 7 years, is that I did this class on YouTube about the same amount of time ago. And, of course, like LeVar mentioned, we had a lot of haters that got my original YouTube channel flagged and terminated, and that's why if you go on the channel now, it's not up there. And I've always considered redoing it and re-uploading it, but I thank the Most High that he raised up Sal, because now I know that this message is going to reach a wider audience of people who desperately need to hear it. Now, I call this class The Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed because you got a doctrine going around that you have to say certain words in Hebrew, particularly the name of the Most High or the name of the Son of the Most High. And people have challenged me to debate on this topic. They challenged LeVar. I've had a debate on this topic. I've had a debate with one brother on this topic. I had another debate with another brother on this topic. Then them two brothers got together and had a debate on the topic. And it's just ongoing and ongoing and ongoing, right? But see, the thing that people don't realize is that Hebrew was never a pure language. The Bible never calls it a pure language. The Bible never says that any word, whether it's the name of the Father, the name of the Son, or any type of word, like you hear a lot of brothers who don't like to say spirit anymore, they don't start saying ruach. And I'm not saying that every brother who you hear say ruach is opposed to using the word spirit. But if you notice, more and more people are trying to adopt Hebrew words and phrases because, though they probably will never admit it, they think it gives them more power. They won't come out and say that, or they'll think it gives more clarity. And there are times when you do have to go to the Hebrew to get more clarity. Now, the problem with this Hebrew language only lie is that people are giving you all kinds of unwarranted scholarship views on this topic, or better yet, pseudo-scholarship or fake scholarship. I've heard people say some of everything about the Hebrew language that just simply cannot be found in Scripture or in history. I've had one brother tell me that there's no way the first century followers of the Messiah or Christians could have used the Greek Septuagint because that's the Greek language. There's no way they just would have used the Greek text. They're Hebrews. I heard another brother say in a debate that Hebrew is the language of creation. That has to be one of the craziest things I ever heard, because that's nowhere in the Bible or in history. And I'm going to show you throughout this lesson that could not have possibly been the case, because I'm going to show you that Hebrew is a language that is the child of many other languages. In other words, like the English language, Hebrew derived from several other languages. It's not a pure language, sisters and brothers. I'm going to show you that Father Abraham did not speak Hebrew. I'm going to show you all of this information through Scripture, through history, through geography, through etymology, which means linguistics, dealing with the language, and I'm going to prove all of this beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm giving it all to you tonight, sisters and brothers. I don't want to hear anything about any Paleo-Hebrew, because I'm going to show you that what I'm going to give goes beyond Paleo-Hebrew. I'm going to show you where Paleo-Hebrew came from. So it won't make any difference if you come in with a Paleo-Hebrew. I'm going to show you where Paleo-Hebrew came from. I'm going to take you from the beginning, Genesis, dealing with this whole language, and we're going to end, if God willing and time permit, in the book of Revelation. There are so many things about the Hebrew language that you people just simply don't know, because other people little research and telling you the truth on this matter. So I'm going to give it to you. And I'm going to show everybody beyond a shadow of a doubt that if anybody is preaching a Hebrew language only doctrine, and I say Hebrew language only, I don't mean the whole language because they never speak the whole language. They just use certain words. But if they try to give you the Hebrew language only, like that, you have to say the Father's name in Hebrew, or you have to say the Son's name in Hebrew, or you have to say other words in Hebrew. I'm going to show you that that is a lie, according to Scripture, according to history, according to geography, and according to etymology or linguistics, language. No matter what angle you come from, I'm going to have the Scripture to show you lying. I'm going to have history to show you lying. I'm going to have the original languages, notice I said languages, to show you lying, and I'm going to have the geography to show you lying. So I'm going to prove this all beyond the doubt. So like Sal said, get your pens and paper ready because I'm about to hit you with a lot of information. But make no mistake, you're going to understand before you get off the phone or stop listening online tonight that anybody that's preaching a Hebrew language only doctrine when it comes to certain words or names is teaching you falsehood. I'm going to prove that. And for a little added measure, I'm going to show you from this class, most importantly, that there is no way anybody knows the true name or pronunciation of the Father or the Son. Just for a bonus. I'm going to throw it up in there. And I'm going to prove that to you through history. Not through what I think, not through what LeVar thinks, not through what Antoine thinks. Through pure, unadulterated history. We're going to get real historical today, sisters and brothers. I mean, we're going to dig deep. So without further ado, we're going to start this first in the book of Genesis. Antoine, I'll let you start it out. We're going to Genesis 11, and we're going to read verses 1 to 9, because I'm sick of these lies. This whole sacred name only doctrine, notice I said sacred name only, I'm not saying it's wrong to use a sacred name, so don't call in here lying saying y'all anti-y'all, or anti-whatever name. I said sacred name only, meaning you're saying you can only do this. No transliterations, no translations. No substitutions. All you can do is say the name. I'm going to show you all of them people who trying to claim that they know exactly what the name is. There's no way they can know it. I'm going to show you that. So that kills all of the debate. If you really believe what you're reading in the Bible and in history and what you're researching in language and in geography. That's if you really believe that. But Genesis chapter 11, verses 1 to 9, when you get there, Antoine, read, please.
Genesis 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech.
Now, it said the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Does it say what language that was?
No.
No. It doesn't say that language was Hebrew. It doesn't say it was Greek. It just says of one language. So if it doesn't say what that language was, how can anybody tell you that that language was the language of creation? Because if you're saying that language was Hebrew, it would have to be a language of creation because it's the first time recorded in the Bible that God divided the languages. So whatever language this is, if you're saying this was Hebrew, this would have to be the language of creation. You can't read this anywhere here, sisters and brothers. So if anybody's telling you that Hebrew was the language of creation, first of all, they lying because you can't read that anywhere in the Bible or in history. And second of all, I'm going to prove to you they lying because I'm going to show you where the Hebrew language came from, how it developed. I'm going to show you that too, through history. It's not hard, sisters and brothers. It really isn't. But people are too busy arguing over this and attacking us to do any real research about it. But go ahead and read.
Verse 2. And it came to pass, as they journeyed from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there.
Mm-hmm.
And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar.
Mm-hmm.
And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven. And let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the whole earth.
Now, all of y'all know that this is talking about the Tower of Babel. Y'all know that. And many of you are already familiar with this story. But I'm reading it because I'm going to show you how the languages all developed. And I'm going to show you what part of the world Father Abraham was born in. And all you have to do after that is find out what language was being spoken in that part of the world, and you have figured out what language Abraham was speaking. It's that simple. That's all you have to do. And I'm going to show you that the Bible tells you that too. But go ahead and continue, Antoine.
Verse 5. And the Lord came down to see the city and the tower, which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech.
Now, who created all of these different languages?
The Most High.
The Most High did.
The Most High did.
Right.
And he never said that he preferred one language over another. He never said that. This is the beginning. We're in the book of Genesis, the very first book in the Bible. Why am I pointing this out? Because you got people walking around right now saying pagan languages. God created the languages.
Right.
It doesn't say Satan did this. God did this. Whose ideal was it for us to have various languages? The Most High God of Israel. So don't come to me so awesome Greek is a pagan language. God created a pagan language? Hebrew can be a pagan language if you are practicing paganism in Hebrew.
Yep.
What makes a language pagan is not the language itself, but what you are doing in that language. If you worship a pagan god in the Hebrew tongue, you just made the Hebrew language pagan. Did you worship a pagan god in the Greek tongue? You have made the Greek language pagan, but the languages in themselves are not pagan. You got folks saying Greek is a pagan language. Why does it say that? You follow what I'm saying? Not even knowing that the language of the biggest pagan nation on earth is the language Abraham spoke.
Yep, sure was.
They don't even know that. Well, you can't say the Messiah's name in Greek. Why not? Because Greek is pagan. Well, can I say it in the language of Babylon? Well, what you mean by that? The book of Revelation calls Babylon the mother of harlots. That means no other harlot nation out there tops Babylon. So if I cannot say the Messiah's name in Greek because it's a pagan language, then most definitely I should be able to say the Messiah's name in the language of the mother of harlots, right? But they ain't thinking like that. They don't even understand that that language is the language of Abraham. And not just Abraham, but several other people in the Bible. Which I'm going to show you. See, this Hebrew language only lie has gotten out of control. We did not even start off. Our forefathers did not even start off speaking Hebrew. People don't know this stuff. But they want to debate with us endlessly. Hey, Josh, let me debate you on this. Hey, Josh, I beat you in this debate on that. Everybody wants to say on this Hebrew language only lie. It is so much information that I'm about to present. There's no way I could do it in a debate. I've had several brothers who I've debated who will agree with me that there are some things that we debate about that there just simply are not enough time to present all the information with all the back and forth discourse, plus the callers calling in. Some things have to be addressed in a lesson format. It just has to be. And this is one of these topics. But I'm doing this because I want y'all to know the history of the Hebrew language. And I want y'all to see that they are telling you lies. That's all they're doing. They're telling you what they want it to be. And then when I jump up and I start saying, hey, y'all, it don't really say that. If you do a little historical research, don't listen to him. He's false. He's arrogant. And all other stuff like that. But I'm going to show y'all the truth. And I'm going to let any honest person who wants to call in and just be saying, based on the research alone, based on the scriptures alone, to tell me that I'm wrong. Based on what we're just reading in the book and pulling out of history. Because we're going to go on book, history, language. Book, history, language. Book, history, language. And you know what the crazy part is, LeVar and Antoine? I'm using the same sources they use.
Yeah.
The same sources. The same sources, right? But you stopped at verse 7. Go ahead and read verses 8 and 9. Go ahead.
Verse 8. So the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth, and from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth.
The whole point of confounding the languages was so that mankind would spread across the whole planet. That was the whole point. But I want to show you first who was behind this. The Most High was behind this. But now that you know that a division occurred, a scattering occurred, let's see how people scattered. What did they scatter according to? LaVar, give me Genesis chapter 10, and I just want you to read verse 1 first. Genesis chapter 10 and verse 1. Go ahead.
Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And unto them were sons born after the flood.
Now, Noah's 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, they repopulated the earth after the flood. Their sons scattered abroad. When you read Genesis 11, they're talking about Noah's sons' sons. That's all you're reading about. It's not exactly in chronological order. But if you read it, you can tell that it's talking about these people, right? But now what I want you to do is skip down, and let's see how these people divided. Skip down and give me verses 21 and 22. Read that.
Verse 21. Unto Shem also, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth the elder, even to him were children born.
Mm-hmm.
The children of Shem, Elam, and Asher, and Arphaxad, and Lud, and Aram.
Now, I want you to pay close attention to these 4 sons of Shem, because these are the main progenitors of the races of languages that Israel was interacting with. These 4 right here. There's a couple more in the table in Genesis that they interacted with, but it was mainly these 4 right here. You had Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lud, and Aram, right? We're dealing with the sons of Shem. Why are we dealing with the sons of Shem? Because we're dealing with what is known as the Semitic or Shemitic people, right? And their languages were known as Semitic or Shemitic languages, right? But now, LaVar, skip down and read verse 32 and watch how it tells you how they were divided. Go ahead. Well, read verses 31 and 32. Read both of them. Go ahead.
Verse 31. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, in their lands, and their nations.
Look what it said. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, which means languages, in their lands. Tongues and families, languages and families in their land. I'm getting real basic here because I know some people are listening so hard that they're not hearing this. In their languages, in their land, meaning whatever land you were in, that particular family had a language for that land. But read verse 32, it's going to confirm that. Go ahead.
Verse 32, these are the families of the sons of Noah after their generations, in their nations, and by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood.
So by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. But it tells you, after their families, meaning if you came from Shem, Ham, or Japheth, respectively, but it also said after their tongues in their lands, after their languages in their lands. So, for instance, if you go back and you go to, say, Genesis 10 and 22, and you go to the son of Shem named Asher, then when you go to where he set up shop at with his family, they had a language over there because that's how they were divided. That was the whole point of the Tower of Babel, to divide them according to their languages. So like I said, all you have to do is do research, find out what son inherited what part of the world, what language was spoken in that world, in that part of the world, and if you see Abraham born there, not migrated there, born there, then you know that's the language he spoke.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that simple. But people don't look at it like that. You got ignorant folks talking about Hebrew was the language of creation. So, of course, if they say that, they're going to assume that Abraham spoke Hebrew. Why would you say something like that? Why don't you just do the history and see what part of the world Abraham was born in? And then find out what language was spoken there at that time. And you have found the language of Abraham. See, that ain't even that hard when you really look at it.
Nope.
And I'm going to show you that's all you got to do. And I'm telling you right now, it was not Hebrew. It was not. In fact, the Hebrew language had not even developed at this time. At the very least, not to the full. Right? But let me show you something, right? We're going to go to the book of Josephus, the New Complete Works of Josephus. I'll read it. And I'm going to show you the more recognizable names for these four sons of Shem. Because remember, we had Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Aram, and Lud. When you go to Josephus, he gives you the same breakdown in Genesis chapter 10, but he tells you the more recognizable modern names of these sons. And we're going to prove that all throughout this lesson, right? So now we're in Antiquities 1.6.4. This is paragraphs 143 and 144. Again, Antiquities 1.6.4, paragraphs 143 and 144. Don't forget that you read in the Bible that they were divided according to their families and the languages in their land. Remember that, right? Now, this is what it says. Shem, the third son of Noah, had 5 sons who inhabited the land that began at Euphrates and reached to the Indian Ocean. For Elam left behind him the Elamites, the ancestors of the Persians. So that's who the Persians are. They come from Shem's son Elam, right? And by the way, if you don't believe Josephus, all of a sudden you just happen to be anti-Josephus, get your Bible dictionary and it says the exact same thing. So I got you no matter where you try to run. Go to a Bible encyclopedia of the tables of nations. It'll tell you the same thing. Go online and look up these names. Tell you the same thing. So I like to use multiple sources because I know there's some anti-Josephus people listening. Well, I don't believe Josephus. I don't put Josephus before the word of God. Nobody's asking you to. But just in case you don't believe him as a historian, you can go look this up in other places. And they're going to verify it in other places. Like I said, know where to run tonight, sisters and brothers. You're just going to have to eat that. You follow what I'm saying? So, it tells you, for Elam left behind him the Elamites, the ancestors of the Persians. Asher lived at the city Nineveh and named his subjects Assyrians. So now you know that Asher is the father of the Assyrians, right? So if you want to get technical, these nations you're reading about are cousins of Israel. That's who they are, right? It says, who became the most fortunate nation beyond others. Paragraph 144. Arphaxad named the Arphaxadites, who are now called Chaldeans. That word appears in the Bible a couple of times. Actually, a number of times. We're going to get to that a little bit later. Aram had the Aramites, which the Greeks call Syrians. So when you read about the Syrians in the Bible, you're reading about the Aramites. I'm going to show you another name that the Aramites went by, not that Syrians, right? And like I said, you can look all these names up in the Bible dictionary. It says in any Bible dictionary, it says the exact same thing Josephus does, right? So if you just choose not to believe the research, then don't even bother calling in arguing against the research because you're not arguing against me. You're arguing against the research, right? But look at what it says right here. It says, as Lud founded the Ludites, which are now called Lydians, right? So Josephus gave you more recognizable names of all of these sons. Elam is the Persians. Asher is the Assyrians. Arphaxad is the Chaldeans. Aram is the Syrians. And Lud is the Lydians. You have to know this stuff before you open your mouth and start saying you know the true name of the Most High God. You have to know this stuff. I know some of y'all listening right now like, what does this have to do with nobody being able to identify the name of the Most High God today or the Son? I'm going to show you. Because each one of these sons had their own language in their own lands. And I'm going to prove that to y'all. But now, let's go back to the scriptures and let's get Abraham's place of birth. Let's go to Genesis chapter 11. Let's see where Abraham was born. Don't forget. You can't forget that your Bible already told you that whatever land these guys populated, it was according to that family and according to that language that God gave them when he divided the tongue. You can't ignore that. You can't have somebody get scattered under Aram, and he's born under Aram in Aram's land, but then going to give him a language that's foreign to Aram. You can't do that. But that's what a lot of these brothers have been doing when they tell you that Hebrew was the language of creation. When your Bible tells you people were scattered according to their languages and their families and their land. Like, for instance, you couldn't scatter Brother Josh to Greece or, Greece, Javon. And I'm born there, right? I'm not talking about when people start intermingling. Don't say like, well, his parents were speaking Hebrew and they migrated over there, so when he was born there, they taught him Hebrew. No, that's long before crap like that. I'm talking about at the very beginning. You can't scatter Brother Josh to Greece and then stick the Hebrew tongue in his mouth. It doesn't work like that, no matter how much you may want it to. But if you insist that that's what happened, prove it. You follow what I'm saying? That's all you got to do. Go in the book and show me that even though Abraham was scattered to a land that was completely foreign to the Hebrew language, somehow, miraculously, Hebrew was his native tongue. You can't prove nothing like that. That's crazy, right? But this is Genesis 11, Lavar. And I want you to give me verses 27 to 31. Go ahead and read.
Genesis 11. Would you say what verse?
Verses 27 to 31.
Okay. Verse 27. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot.
So this is Terah, Abraham's father. Let's see where he begot these people at. Go ahead.
And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees.
So what was the land of Terah's children's nativity? Ur of the Chaldeans. That's where Abraham's father was from. That's where Abraham and his brothers were born. In Ur of the Chaldeans. That's the land of their nativity. But wait a minute. Ur of the Chaldeans? Who is that? You go back and you remember what you read in Josephus or in your Bible dictionary, because I want y'all to check behind me. Please, at home, if you're listening and you heard the matches I made with the names in Josephus, please consult your Bible dictionary or even the Strong's Concordance, and you will see that all these names line up perfectly with what Josephus is telling you. Don't believe me. Look it up. And then call in. Don't call in. Did you even look up the name, brother or sister? Well, no, but I want to say, shut up. Check me out first. Check behind me first before you disagree with me. I'm asking you to. I'm begging you to. Check behind me. So it says Ur of the Chaldeans. When you go back, you remember Arphaxad were the Chaldeans. That's Arphaxad, the Chaldeans. So that means that Abraham's family was living in whatever land Arphaxad had. And whatever language they were speaking, that was the language Abraham and his family were speaking. This is common sense. This is not debatable. And if you don't believe that, the Bible plainly tells you, go back to Genesis chapter 10 and verse 31, and it says, these are the sons of Shem, after their families, after their tongues, meaning languages, in their lands. That means that language was spoken in that land. And Terah was in Ur of the Chaldees. His children were born there. Right? So now that we know that, what we're going to simply do, we're going to take it step by step, is we're going to go to the Holman Bible Dictionary, and we're going to look up Ur to see where it was located at. Like I said, I'll give you geography, too. And then I'm going to show you what language was spoken there. You see how simple this is? LeVar and Antoine, is anything complicated about what we're doing?
Very simple.
Very simple. Very. But yet people want to debate it. They want to argue. But that's not how we get down to ABT. I tell you anything, I'm going to back it all up. And we just getting started. But this is Holman Bible Dictionary under Ur on page 1385. Look what it says. Ur. Place, name, meaning fire oven. An ancient city in lower Mesopotamia. We just identified Ur, sisters and brothers. Abraham was born in lower Mesopotamia. That's real simple. You see that? Look what else it says. That is mentioned in the Bible as Abraham's birthplace. Wow. It's mentioned in the Bible as Abraham's birthplace. Didn't I just tell them that?
Mm-hmm.
But we figured that out. Look what else it says. Ur, Kish, and Uruk were three important population centers in Sumerian, not Samaria. Don't confuse with that. This is ancient Sumer we're reading about, or Sumner we're reading about. It says centered in ancient Sumerian and Babylonian civilizations. Whoa! Abraham was born in an ancient Sumerian and Babylonian civilization. In other words, Abraham was born in Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Abraham was born. Do the research. Find out what Mesopotamia is. It'll tell you that. That's Babylon area. And Ur was a place in Mesopotamia. That's what it was. But look what else it says. Abraham's family home is alluded to in Genesis 12:1 and Acts 7:2. Read those places and you'll see. It tells you that. He was born in Mesopotamia. So now we know where Abraham was born, right? We know that. So now let's find out what language was spoken in that area. Because remember it says in Genesis chapter 10, the tongue in that land. And if we do the historical research and it don't mention Hebrew, you already been found a liar. Already been found a liar. There's nothing left to debate. But we're going to go to a book that I found in an outlet store. It's titled The Pentateuch in Its Cultural Environment by G. Herbert Livingston. And it's copyrighted 1987. I mean, this book is over 20 years old, right? And what we're going to do is we're going to go to page 21, and we're going to look up the Sumerians. And we're going to read about them, their history, and we're going to read about what language they spoke. Because this is very important, because we just read that Abraham was in lower Mesopotamia. That's where he was born at, right? Or in Mesopotamia, right? Look what it says about the Sumerians. It says, and again, just in case anybody wants the title of this book again, it's The Pentateuch in Its Cultural Environment. It's a very good book. I don't even know if it's available anymore. But if you find it, if you are a serious student of the Bible, you need to add this to your collection, because it's a very good book. Look what it says right here. The Sumerians are not mentioned in the Bible and were totally unknown until the 19th century. The first evidence of their culture was found at Tel al-Ubaid in the lower Mesopotamian valley. Wait a minute. Did we just read in the Holman Bible Dictionary, under Ur, place, name, meaning fire oven, an ancient city in lower Mesopotamia?
Yeah.
I mean that Abraham was born in ancient Sumer.
Yeah.
That's what that means. See, this isn't hard at all. But we got to find out what language they were speaking, because they'll tell you it was Hebrew. You got people asking me, how do you say the father's name in Hebrew? How do you say the father's name in Sumer? How do you say it in that language? Because that's the language Abraham would have been founded in.
Right.
But we're going to read that. Look what it says. It says, at Tel al-Ubaid in the lower Mesopotamian valley, and they are first mentioned by name in an inscription dated about 2400 BC. Now what we're going to do, right, is we're going to look up their language. We're going to page 56. Let's see what it says about their language. There's no doubt about the location. And we already know the Bible itself already said that the people scattered according to the languages in that land. So if Pharaoh was over there, he was speaking that language. And if his children were born there, they were speaking that language. How are you going to take what the Bible says and put your own spin on it to make Abraham speak a language that is completely foreign to those people? That would be like me taking you to Brazil, right? And you born in Brazil in an area, it's some English-speaking people in Brazil, but you born in an area where they are chiefly speaking the Brazilian language, but somehow, by a miracle, you come up speaking English. Nobody's going to go for that. Nobody's teaching you English. Nobody's speaking English around you. English is not a dialect in that land, but somehow you want me to believe that you were speaking Hebrew. Come on, y'all. It's time to stop falling for this foolishness, because all it does is divide. I got old friends who can't stand me right now because of the very information I'm presenting to y'all tonight. And I ain't lied one time. It's all true. But we're going to look this up. This is page 56. See, this is how we do it at ABC. I'm not going to tell you what I think. I'm going to give it to you so you can come behind me. Anybody who's giving you a doctrine that cannot be validated, you shouldn't believe it. That's why I don't like all these folks claiming personal revelation. I can't validate that. That's between you and God. That's why it's called personal. When something is personal, I mean it only involves you. So how am I supposed to check that? How am I supposed to validate that? Well, I'm showing you information. Well, then it's not a personal revelation, then, is it? See, what people will do, they hollow personal revelation when you back them into a corner when they can't prove their scholarship. Then they want to say, well, God just told me. But they will cling on to what they think is scholarship until you show it's not. Now they want to jump over and say personal revelation.
Yeah.
That's deceitful, sisters and brothers. If you start out with validating your scholarship, then that's how you need to end up. Don't holler personal revelation when you back into a corner and your scholarship can't stand. That's a cop-out. I've had so many brothers do that to me. I got personal revelation. Oh, the Ruach told me this. That's what they always say when I back into a corner.
My favorite one, you got to have a spiritual eye to understand it.
Or you got to have a spiritual eye to understand this. Oh, they love that one too. Give me a break. It's time to get away from that. If they can't show it to you, tell them to keep it moving. That's the whole point, right? And it needs to be in proper context. But this is the Sumerian language in the same book, the Pentateuch in its cultural environment. This is page 56. Look what it says on the Sumerian language. During the 19th century, a people gradually came to light whose language was totally unknown from any source. Totally unknown from any source, right? The language of this people, the Sumerians, quite unlike that of any other, was neither Semitic nor Indo-European. This is an entirely different language. It didn't say it was Hebrew or similar to Hebrew. It was unlike any other language. Look what it says right here. Nor Egyptian in character. It didn't even have anything in common with the Egyptian language. Then it says their language has been classed as agglutinative, meaning the combining or running together of all words into compounds, but still retaining the original meaning of each part. And it is thus similar to Turkish, Hungarian, and Finnish. Otherwise, it is not like any of these three just named. That's what it had in common with these other that it named, about how it compounds words together, right? But still retains the original meaning of each part. That's what it has in common. It says other than that, it's not like any other language, including the ones that just named. But look at this right here. The Sumerian language was a living, spoken form of speech from before 3500 BC to about 2050 BC. Then it became a dead classical language. Fortunately, the language, though dead, was studied by the scribes of the Babylonians. the Assyrians, the Elamites. Notice we already got like 2 of the sons of Shem. Y'all notice that? The Assyrians, that's Asher. The Elamites, that's Persians. Notice we already got 2 of them, right? And it says, and of course the Babylonians, that's Nimrod and them. Y'all know that. It says, Babylonians, Assyrians, the Elamites, the Hurrians, the Hittites, and the Canaanites. Basically, it was from the Babylonian and the Assyrian literature that the Sumerian language came to light. So this unique language in ancient Sumer was not Hebrew. This is the language, whatever that language was, that the Babylonians, the Canaanites, and the Assyrians and the Hittites brought back to life. That's the language Abraham spoke. It was not Hebrew. So much for that lie. See how simple that was? Well, I don't believe that. Then you don't believe the Bible, because the Bible said they scattered according to languages in that land. Was Abraham born in that land? Yep. So whatever language in that land, that's what language he spoke. See, it's that simple, right? But it gets even deeper than this, because we're going to keep this thing moving. Let me show you something else to prove that even further. Let's go back to the book. Who turn is it to read? I lost track. Who?
Paul.
Just let you know, fellas, of course, is line of P from precedent number 1. So whenever you're ready.
They got to be patient tonight. I'm going to get to them, though. This is Deuteronomy 26. I want to bring this out before we go any further. This is Deuteronomy 26. And we're going to read verses 4 and 5. And look what it says about our father Jacob, that I've never heard any Hebrew Israelite tell anybody. I'm not saying they've never done it. I'm saying I've never heard it. That they've never told anybody. This is Deuteronomy 26, verses 4 to 5.
You said Deuteronomy 26?
Yeah, 26.
Okay. 26, verse 4 and 5.
And verses 4 and 5. Go ahead and read.
Deuteronomy 26, verse 4.
This is what you were saying when you were paying your first fruits and your tithes. This is something that you recited. This is what you're reading here. Go ahead and read.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll make sure you said 26, right?
That's what I said. Yes, sir.
All right. Genesis 26, verse 4. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven.
Hold on, 26 and verse 4. Verse 4. You got chapter 26, but verse 4.
That's what I meant.
Deuteronomy.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said Genesis. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 4.
Deuteronomy 26.
I want to at least get an hour into this before we start opening up the phone. Let's get at least an hour into this, which will be about in the next 10 or 15 minutes. But I want to bring this out first. This has to be known. Go ahead and read.
All right, verse 4. And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hand, and set it down before the altar of the Lord thy God. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt, and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation, great, mighty, and populous.
Wait a minute. Look what it says right here. And thou shalt speak and say before the Lord thy God, a Syrian ready to perish was my father. And he went down into Egypt and sojourned there with a few, and became there a nation great, mighty, and populous. This is talking about Jacob. But look what it called him. It called him Syrian.
Yep.
Why did it call him Syrian? We're going to get into that. Let's look at this again. Let's go to Hosea 12 and verse 12. I want you to read that one too, Antoine. But these are short verses. Hosea 12 and verse 12. When you get there, go ahead and read it. Hosea 12 and verse 12. Go ahead.
All right. Hosea 12, verse 12. And Jacob fled into the country of Syria, and Israel served for a wife. And for a wife he kept sheep.
And you can read that in Genesis 28.
Right.
But it called Jacob a Syrian. Right? So wherever he was living. Even though Jacob was born in the land of Canaan, which we're going to deal with that too, it called him Assyrian. In other words, Jacob had been staying in Syria for so long that they called him Assyrian. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the Strong Concordance, and we're going to look up the name translated Syria there. It's 758 in the Hebrew section. And look what it says. From the same as 759, the highland, Aram, or Syria. We learned that from Josephus. Remember? Josephus told you that Aram was Syria. You said that's who the Greeks call him, Syria. Syria is actually a Greek transliteration. It says, and Aram is a Hebrew transliteration. It says, and its inhabited, also the name of a son of Shem, a grandson of Nahor, and of an Israelite, Aram, Mesopotamia, Syria. Wait a minute. Mesopotamia? That is where Jacob went when he was fleeing Esau, and he stayed there for 20 years.
Yep, sure did.
That's why they call him Assyrian. He had been there so long that he adopted the citizenship. But guess what? That's the same place Abraham was born, Mesopotamia.
Mm-hmm.
So what language was Jacob speaking? What was the language of that? Aramaic.
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 Yep.
Remember, according to their land. Somebody might say, but Jacob was born in Canaan. What language was he speaking then? I'm going to get to that. But it tells you he was Syrian. Not by descent, but by residence. Just like Abraham was a Syrian or a Mesopotamian. Because Aram, Syria, and Mesopotamia are all the same. And Ur of the Chaldees is an area in Mesopotamia. And the language spoken there is Aramaic, not Hebrew. And Aramaic and Hebrew are not the same. And Aramaic did not come from Hebrew. Don't let a lie even tell you that. I'm through that lie. It actually predates it. But now, Sal, let's go to the phone. Let's take about 4 questions, because I want to get back into this. Let's take about 4.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to the people right about now. Well, you know that number, 646-716-7320. Let's go to 941-276. You're live on air.
Shabbat Shalom, Brother Sal. This is Brother Jason in South Florida. How you doing?
Shalom to everybody.
I have a quick question and then 2 quick comments. Question for the teacher. Were you in the Garden of Eden to hear the language that Adam spoke?
No. That's why I don't know what it was. I'm not making any claims, one way or another.
Tonight you seem to be clear that it wasn't Hebrew. So if you don't know what it was, then you can't be sure it wasn't Hebrew.
What I'm saying is, if you listen to the rest of the class, I'm going to show you that Hebrew developed much later than that, so it could not have been Hebrew.
I just have 2 quick comments, Brother Sal.
No response to that?
Tonight. Hello?
What? You ain't going to respond to that? You just going to just go to the comments? What do you have to say? What do you have to say to me telling you that if I can show you? Hold on. Okay, but what do you have to say to me telling you that if I can show you that the Hebrew language developed much later, would you agree that it could not have been spoken in the Garden of Eden?
I just have 2 quick comments to make. He claims that the pronunciation was lost. He claims that the true pronunciation was lost.
I didn't hear you. Repeat your question completely over again because you were getting drowned out. Say it completely again.
I said I have not a question, but 2 quick comments.
Okay.
Okay. You claim that the true pronunciation of the Father's name was lost, but again, that goes against what the Scripture teaches in Exodus 3:15, where it says differently. It says his name will be a memorial, or Zachari, which is Hebrew, and it means it will be remembered into all generations.
That's not what that means.
One at a time. Wait, let me address
I have time. Let me just make my comment and go. Okay, the next quick comment I have to make is in Zephaniah 3:9, where it says, "For I will then restore pure speech to the peoples, so that all of them may call on the name of Yahuwah and serve him with a single purpose." And for something to be restored, that means it must have once existed. And the funny thing about Zephaniah 3:9, if you look one verse earlier in Zephaniah 3:8, it's one of the few places in the Tanakh where every letter of the Hebrew alphabet is present. And that's all I have to share tonight. Shalom.
Okay. You want to say something first, Antoine?
Yes, please.
Go ahead. I'll let you do it, then I'll address it.
I do not like drive-by comments when people make comments and then we're not allowed to address the comment that they're making, or they ask a question and then we answer the question. They have no response. I just want to make a quick pop shot thing and this blah 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 and not listen to the whole show. I'm like, first of all, how can anybody have a question? We're not even haven't gotten into the meat of the lesson yet. And then secondly, like, when you make a comment, it's like a pop shot. Let me go. I'm gonna answer quick. I want to make two comments real quick and then I'm gonna go. Just let me say this. You know, and then we ask the question, what do you got to say to this? I just got comments. Like, what? No, we asking you, what? You know what I'm saying? We're supposed to say we're trying to have a dialogue and a discourse for the people. You know what I'm saying? Not for this. It really bothers me when people come on and they make a little quick pop shot comment real quick and then keep on and keep going and then say, I'm going for the rest of the night. It's like, all right.
Right. Well, let me address his comment since he was kindly enough. I mean, you got to give credit for one thing. He was respectful. You know, he wasn't condescending or anything like that. Let's deal with all his questions.
No, bro. You're not the teacher. Your name is Brother Josh. Let the cat call you teacher, and he knows good and well who you are. I have a question.
Right. Yeah, and I caught that too. You know, little jabs like that beneath me. So I don't need to respond to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Here's the thing. The brother said if the scriptures don't say what language was spoken in the Garden of Eden, how can you say it wasn't Hebrew? That's a legitimate question, and I love it. But a better question would be, if it doesn't say what it was, how can you say it was Hebrew? That's a better question, because if the Bible don't say something one way or another, then you're safer not putting something there than saying it don't say that. That's a safer bet. But you notice when I asked the brother, what if I can show you that the Hebrew language developed much later? Wouldn't that prove that it couldn't have been spoken in the Garden of Eden? Like, for instance, if somebody came to you and told you that the 12 tribes of Israel were in the Garden of Eden, what would you say to that, Antoine, if somebody told you that? Can you hear me, Antoine? Oh, I don't hear anybody right now. Hello?
Hello?
Oh, yeah, I'm back.
I said, can you hear me? I went out for a minute. Can you hear me?
I'm sorry, repeat that.
I said, if I came to you right now and told you that the 12 tribes of Israel were in the Garden of Eden, what would you say to that?
I would say the book don't say that.
Right, but you do know that the 12 tribes of Israel came later, though. You know that, right?
Yeah, they came later. Yeah, they came much after.
Right. So what I'm saying is, if somebody came to you and told you, because the Bible don't say the 12 tribes of Israel was in the Garden of Eden, but it don't say they weren't there either, right?
Right.
So for us to prove if they were there or not is to find when they first came up. Then we'll know if they were there or not.
Show when it came about. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So if I can prove to you that the Hebrew language came after the Garden of Eden, then you can't say that's the language spoken. Right?
And another thing, too, to address one of the other comments, too, I think it'll be another good idea for another class. The Father's name being a memorial to all generations. That's another thing that they twist, and I wouldn't say they twist. They just don't understand it.
They don't know no better. They don't know no better about that.
They just see name and they run with it. And they so Hebrew-wise, they don't even understand what name means in Hebrew. But
right. When it says the Father's name was going to be a memorial, it doesn't mean the pronunciation or spelling. It meant his character. We would always know who he is and what he's done and plans to do. I would prove that. This is simple. And then he goes to Zephaniah chapter 3. Again, another verse that says nothing about Hebrew. And he called it a pure language. Oh, my God. This guy is just all over the place tonight. And this is one of the people who want to debate me on this. Right? But I'm going to show him, because y'all notice, when I asked him a scholarly question, he just acted like he didn't even hear me. I said, you're not going to address the fact that I just told you I can show you the origin of the Hebrew language? My two comments. But I'll go to the next call. We got to remember they got other callers.
All right, once again, it's Debate Talk for You time. You know the number, 646-716-7320. But those people that just joined into the show, the title of this class, The Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed. The Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed. My special guest is Brother Josh from Absolute Bible Truth. Let's go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. Let's go to 910-551. You're live on air.
Okay, shalom, everyone.
Shalom. Hey, shalom.
Okay, yeah, this is Dubai Emil Old calling from Fayetteville, North Carolina. I need correction according to the text based on my understanding of this situation, and then I got a question. So the first thing is my understanding of the situation is that Eber was given the privilege of preserving the one language that was spoken in Babylon, and I need correction on that.
Okay, okay. Where does it say that at?
In the Babylon story.
No, I mean in the Babylonian story, or do you believe the Bible, or do you believe the Babylonian story? I don't take no stock in the Babylonian story. We're called absolute Bible truth, not absolute Babylonian story truth. I don't take no stock in that. I don't care nothing about that.
Oh yeah, my fault for not making myself clear. I'm talking about the biblical Babylon story.
Okay, can you show us in the biblical Babylonian story where it says Eber was given the charge of preserving the original language? Where does it say that at?
I can't cite it.
It's not in there, brother. It's not in there, brother. I'm just telling you straight up, it's not in there.
All right, now my question is, was there many languages spoken in Israel during Hamashiach's time?
Yes, and I'm going to show you that. You said during what, though? During the time the Messiah walked the earth?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
a lot of them.
Okay, so does that go against your understanding that whatever country you're in is the language that you speak?
No, that doesn't go against my understanding. That's what I agree with, that whatever country you're in, that's the language you speak. The purpose of this class, I want to make sure you understand, the purpose of this class is to prove that the Hebrews did not only speak Hebrew or worship in the Hebrew language or felt the need to substitute Hebrew words and phrases in the language they were in. They completely translated and transliterated everything. Now, there were a couple of purists that did that, but you can go through the history and see that Hebrew Israelites called on the Most High by whatever language and land they were in. And I just want to bring something out, and I'm not trying to put you on blast or nothing, brother, but the fact that you thought that Eber was given a charge of preserving a pure language, there's no way you could get that from reading Genesis chapter 10. That means you had to hear that somewhere. And sometimes when we hear stuff, we don't know if it's what somebody's saying or if it's actually in the book. Because there have been times when I went to a class before and I heard somebody say something and I swore it was verbatim that in the Bible, and it wasn't. It was just the way they worded it. You follow what I'm saying? So you got to be careful with that. But I appreciate your call, brother.
Okay, but I had another, I forgot what it was. All right, appreciate you.
Well, stay on, and when you come back later on, say I'll make a note of your number.
Yeah, if I remember, I'll call back in.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, what I'll do is I'll put a special mark on your call, so we'll bring you back in later on. I'm going to take maybe two more, and after that we're going to go, because there's a lot of information that the brother got to bring out there. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320, and it looks like it's going to be probably a 4-hour show, so everybody else stand by. We're going to get to your questions. Well, let's go to the next caller. Let's go to...
Sal, before you go to the next caller, I just want to address one more thing that was brought up earlier that I just thought about. I noticed when the brother Jason called in and simply addressed me as teacher, when you and I and him had a three-way conversation, the brother knows who I am. I mean, the teacher, okay, so now I ain't got no way to address me now. He don't know nothing. He don't even know what to call me, but that's fine, because that's who I am, so I ain't tripping. But I noticed that he didn't address the fact that Abraham was born in Ur of the Chaldees, and the Bible says that's the language that you speak according to that land. So I just want the audience to see that the mindset that these people have is when you put information out, they don't address it. They just completely ignore it or dismiss it and just go on to whatever they believe. That's not how you build. You have to deal with this stuff, brother. You can't just dismiss it. This is too concrete. But go to the next caller, please, Sal.
All right, like I said, we're going to take 2 more callers, but don't you go anywhere. We're going to get some more of your calls later on. To stand by, pressing number 1, we'll get to you guys. So I'm going to take 2 more for now. Let's go to 951-350. You're live on the air.
Shalom. How you doing, my brother Sal?
Hey, shalom, brother.
Shalom. I appreciate the convo and the lesson that the brothers are bringing here tonight. I agree to a certain extent, but I kind of see a slight contradiction in what he's bringing us thus far. So far, I know the brothers got more information, but
okay, what's the slight contradiction that you see so far? Put it out there, bro. Don't hold it in. Put it out there.
Okay, calm down, my brother. It's not animosity that I'm bringing. I'm just, I want to add something to the conversation. Okay, when you talk about Akkad and you talk about Ur and Chaldea and all of these places in Babel or Babylon, you have to deal with Genesis chapter 10 instead of Genesis chapter 11, which, Genesis chapter 11 gives the question, that we're all dealing with here. Where did these languages come from and what did they originate from? So, like I'm saying, when you go to Genesis chapter 10, it brings you to, go to Genesis 10, verse 8, brother.
You do know I went to Genesis 10 in this lesson, right?
Okay, that's great. But I don't think you brought this out. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So it says, and Cush brought forth Nimrod. He began to be a mighty one in the earth. He was a mighty hunter before Yahweh. Before, it is said, like Nimrod, the mighty hunter before Yahweh, and the beginning of his reign, here's the point, the crux, was Babel. This is talking about Nimrod and Cush. The beginning of his reign was Babel and Erech and Akkad and Calneh. Well, your Bible will say something different. And in Shinar. Go on from the land, he went to Ashur, it's a little different in mine, and built Nineveh and built Rehoboth and Ir and Calah and Rezin and between Nineveh and Calah, the great city, okay? Those things are poignant, and they point to the fact that this origin of this, what we call now Shemitic, Hamitic, and this Yepet thing, was a commonality between Cush, or this Hamitic people, and Shemitic, starting with the languages. All right? Now, listen closely, and I'm going to get right into it and get out your way. The languages that are listed here, or the places that are listed here, are like, the Philistines and on down from Genesis 13 through 20 or so. Amorites, Girgashites, Hivites, Shinites, Hamites, Canaanites, all of these places that in Exodus, Moses was spoken to by the Lord to tell the Israelites that he's going to bring them out and bring them to this land, these lands, these places right here, back to Genesis 10, okay? So now, you go on to Genesis chapter 11. Not Genesis 11, brother, I'm sorry. Genesis chapter 10, verse 21. Also to Shem, the father of all the children of Eber, the brother of Japheth. The elder children were born, okay? Now, it says Elam, Asher, Araxad, Lud, and Aram. Aram is the one that I'm bringing you to. Now, if you're talking about our origin, brother, and you're speaking about the name of God and you're talking about the language, you have to admit some things that I don't even think that you would be willing to admit, but the people from my school of thought will share with anyone any day of time. The name of God in that language and in this sense, which you would go back way back and call it Akkadian Babylonian, or you could even call it Aramaic, Syriac, or all of those, you would call God Allah. Now, brother, do you agree that God's name is Allah, or the title, or the identification with the supreme creator, not the Lord, because even in Aramaic, Lord is Maria.
You're asking me, Allah.
I'm asking, do you agree?
Let him answer the
I'm
question.
asking, do you agree with those things?
I agree that Allah in Arabic is a dialect and a word for God. You can look that up in Arabic.
No, I believe you. I'm asking you, do you personally? because you're pointing to this essence.
But I hear everything you're saying. I really do. But my point was that it says we both know the divisions and the languages did not start into Genesis 11. We know that with the Tower of Babel.
Yes, you're absolutely correct there, but I'm talking about the root, what the language was before the separation.
Let me finish, bro. There was no language before the separation. The Bible, the book of Genesis, gives you information, and then it explains later on how that information came to be. When it says in Genesis, you think because it says in Genesis chapter 10 that they were divided according to their nations, that the division happened then. No, if you go to Genesis 11, it mentions in the land of Shinar. The land of Shinar is first mentioned in Genesis chapter 10, referring to Babylon. The division of languages did not occur until the Tower of Babel. That's why Tower of Babel opens up. Genesis 11 says the whole earth was of one language. One. So if Genesis 10 is talking about some languages that existed prior to the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11, then there's no way Genesis 11 afterwards can say the earth was one language. It would have said the earth was a handful of languages or some languages and God created more. It doesn't say that. This is giving you how the languages goes about. Genesis 10 is just telling you how the splits work. That's all it is. So getting back to my original point, it still doesn't take away, no matter how you word it or which one you believe took place first, it still tells you in Genesis 31, these are the sons of Shem after their families, after their tongues, which mean languages, in their land. So these are still different tongues in different lands. And you look up those tongues, and you will find whoever lived there, that's what they were speaking. That's all I'm saying. Let's not confuse this and take this in a whole different direction. I'm not trying to do that. Let's keep it simple. And it is simple. But Sal, you can go to the next caller so we can go and deal with this.
It's a contradiction. I don't know. It's a contradiction.
I don't think it's a contradiction.
All right, let's take one more for now, and after that we're going to get into the lesson. Let's go to 678-544, Brother War. What's going on?
Hey, you know I'm going to be on the line. I got put off last time.
I can't believe somebody else beat you to the first call, man. What's up? You slipping the wall?
Yeah, right. Yeah. My question to you, Josh. You said that the original tongue that he talked about in Genesis, the one tongue, the one language. You said it was Aramaic. What did you say it was?
No, I did not say that. I said at the beginning of this class, it does not say what that tongue was. I made that perfectly clear. It does not say. It don't say it was Hebrew. It don't say what it was. So if the Bible don't say what it was, I'm not going to take it upon myself to tell you what it was, because it doesn't say. Whatever language that was, all the other languages developed from that. And then you had languages that developed from languages. You still got languages and dialects developing today. You know that. But I never said that language was Aramaic. I said the language of Chaldean, which was the language of Aram, was Aramaic. And I showed you that. We looked that up.
And that's what Abraham spoke.
That's what Abraham spoke. That's where he was born.
Okay. Now you said that. I just want to make sure I heard you correct, because sometimes you talk so fast. Now you said that wherever you were born in that time, like you said somewhere Abraham was born, that was the language that he was speaking, that he adopted from the land that he was born.
When he was scattered. Let me read it to you, so you won't say that I'm saying it. Remember, you know that it tells you that God scattered the nations based on their tongues, which means languages. You know that. That's why he confused the languages in the first place, right? You know that. Now look what it says in Genesis 10:31. These are the sons of Shem, after their families, which means tribes. You know that. After their tongues, languages, in their land. When these people scattered, they scattered according to what land they were given, their tribe, that's their families, and that language. You follow what I'm saying? So these are three determining factors that happened at the Tower of Babel. When he split up the nations, he said, okay, you get this land, your family goes in this land, and this is the language, or languages, for that land. That's how it went. So all you have to do is find out where Abraham was born, because that's the way it worked. When you scattered according to your families, and when your family was born in that land, they inherited your tongue. That would be like me telling a war he was born in Israel in a Hebrew-speaking society, and somehow, for no reason, Greek ain't been spoken nowhere. A war is growing up speaking Greek. You wouldn't go for that a war. You're like, wait a minute. If my family was scattered here according to their tongue, and that tongue was Hebrew, and no other language was over there or came over there, then what language are you going to grow up speaking? Hebrew.
Hey, yeah.
But let me say this. You can't positively say that Abraham and them did not keep the customs of their fathers. Okay, their fathers.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. What I mean,
right.
Hold up. Whoa. How did customs of anybody's fathers being kept? What does that have to do with born in a native land with a native tongue? What does that have to do with anything?
No, this is what I'm saying, because like the brother said, when you go into Hebrew, which derived from Eber, because he was the one. Now I know you say it doesn't say that, but Eber was the one that was supposed. Somebody had to keep that original language, and you're speculating saying that you don't know what the original language.
You can't say someone had to keep. Show me where it says in the Bible. Absolute Bible truth. Show me where it says in the Bible. Wait, Show me where it says in the Bible. Show me where it says in the Bible where Eber preserved the Hebrew language and passed it down to Israel, and this show goes off the air right now.
And
well,
let's show me that. And this show, I'm done. Show me that.
Hold on. Let me make my point. For me to show you that, you have to show me the original language that was the language during the time of Babel.
No, I don't. That has nothing to do with it. The only thing I got to show is when. Wait a minute. I cannot show you in. Wait, hold on. Listen. What you're doing is you're creating a stipulation that has nothing to do with the context of the class. The context is not. Wait, let me finish. What you're saying is, if you don't know what that language was before the languages were created, then you can't say one way or another. Actually, I can say one way or another, because there's a point in history where languages were identified according to families. I'll take you to the first point in history where languages were identified according to families after whatever that language was scattered. And it tells you they were scattered according to families. Now, if you believe that Eber was given a charge of preserving that original language, and that original language is Hebrew, then the burden of proof is on you, brother, because that's a claim you're making. So show us that in the book, or forever hold your peace.
One more question right quick. Hello?
Yeah, you're on that.
Yeah, one more question. Like that brother said, when he pulled that scripture, I think in Zephaniah, that it's going to be converted back to this pure language.
It don't say converted back to a pure language. It don't say that.
In the proper context, I'm just trying to move fast. Well, it's going to be restored. This one language. You know what it says. You know what the scripture says. But anyway, my question to you is going to be that original language? Are you saying that original language that the Most High said he's going to, that pure language, he's going to restore? You say it's going to be Arabic?
No, I did not say a war. I did not say what. Listen, a war. Listen, because I always tell you this. You be thinking I be trying to put you on blast. Right. I never said the original language was Aramaic. You called in and asked, did I say that? You don't know how to listen, brother. You really don't. I don't know if you hard of hearing or you just got ADD or something, but you don't know how to listen. I never said that, and I never said that the language is going to be restored. I never said that.
You said it wasn't Hebrew, right or wrong?
No, I'm telling you, if I can continue, if I show you in history when the Hebrew language developed, then we can be certain that it wasn't back then, because its origin started later. Just like you know that Jacob was not in the Garden of Eden. You know he was born much later. How does a war know that? Because a war can go and read through the lineages and see Garden of Eden came and gone. Now Jacob is born. Nobody's going to be able to convince a war that Jacob was in the Garden of Eden. But guess what, a war? The Bible doesn't say Jacob wasn't there. But you can go and pinpoint the origin of Jacob's birth, and now you know he was not in the Garden of Eden. Same thing with the Hebrew language. If the Hebrew language had, I should say languages, because I'm going to show y'all that too. If I can show you the Hebrew language has an origin that's far after the Garden of Eden, then there's no way it could have been in the Garden of Eden when it didn't even exist yet. That's what I'm telling you. So I want to go on.
That's what I was going to say. I'm gonna bring you back. I'm gonna bring you back later on. But to stand by, let the brother bring out some more information, and everybody else, I'm gonna bring you guys in later on. Once again, this is Debate Talk Radio. The number is 646-716-7320. Go ahead, brother Josh.
Yeah, I just got to tell the people, man. Do you see what we're dealing with? These people will conjure up doctrine. They think that because Eber, because the name Hebrew does come from Eber, but it also comes from something Abraham did when he crossed over the Euphrates.
That's right.
That's also where it came from, right? But just like Hebrew came from Eber, just like Israelites came from Israel, that still does not prove that Eber was given a charge of handling a language. That's not in the Bible. I don't even see how somebody can even get that from that. But this is what we have to deal with. I'm like, if the Bible says that Eber was charged with holding on to the pure language, then let's just read that and call it a day or call it a night. It's not in there. So where are you getting that from? If you notice, every time I ask a brother to show me this, like the brother who called in before the war, he made the same statement, but he was humble enough to admit that he thought it was there. See, this is why this is dangerous. Because a war is stating in like factually that that's what happened. And now this poor gentleman who called in before him probably heard somebody like a war say that, and now he's walking around thinking that in the book. It's not in the book. Don't bring it to me if it's not in the book, or if you can't prove it to me through history. I don't want to hear it. We've heard your opinions for the last 3 months, 4 months, year, 2 years. Let's deal with some factology versus mythology. Eber, preserving Hebrew language, that's a myth. The name Hebrew coming from Eber, that's fact. That's all we're going to run with. What language was there in the book of Genesis? Doesn't say. When did the languages come about? It is the dividing of the Tower of Babel. How were people divided? According to their tongue. What determined what language you speak? If your family or people was in that land. That's what your Bible says. And y'all all know that if you were born a Hebrew Israelite in the land of Israel, you grew up speaking Hebrew. But yet y'all want me to believe that Abraham was born a Syrian or Mesopotamian in the land of Ur-Chaldees, but somehow he grew up speaking Hebrew. Because he was given the imaginary charge that you can't read nowhere in the Bible by Eber to preserve a language. Where is that S1 in the bar? Somebody, please show me that. You heard what I said.
It's on a website.
Go ahead.
It's on a website, bro.
You said what?
It's on a website.
Yeah, it's on a website. They went to some website and read that. See, this is why this class failed. This is why this class is needed. For stuff just like this. Because you got brothers who will sit up here, and if you want to cut them off, a war would argue this with me all night, and he can't prove a dang thing he's saying. Let's go to the book. Absolute Bible truth. Not in the Bible, don't want to hear it. Respect that. Because if you don't, I'm not going to respect you. I'm just letting you know that. Right? But let's get back to the lesson. Where did we leave off at? We stopped at Hosea chapter 12 and 12, proving that Jacob was in Syria so long that he was called Assyrian. That's Mesopotamia. Right? Yeah. That's the language of Aram, Aramaic. Y'all want me to believe that Jacob fled from Esau to a land that was speaking Aramaic, but he was talking Hebrew to them.
Yeah, right.
They just adopted his language. No, these folks were speaking Aramaic, and Jacob, born in the land of Canaan, was speaking the language of Canaan. This is common sense, or whatever languages his forefathers passed down to him in addition to the language of Canaan. Just like you got Spanish people who come over here to America, and they have children, and they raise their children up speaking both Spanish and English.
That's right. It's common sense.
That's common sense. Let's get away from this fairy tale stuff, y'all. These brothers trying to feed y'all myths. Jewish fables, as Peter called it. Right? But now, let's deal with the language of Canaan. Since they want to deal with the language, I'm going to deal with it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12. Let me show y'all something. These brothers can't deal with facts. Whenever I show facts, when ABC brings facts, they give opinion. Then when I bring the facts and I ask them, hey, could you address this? Explain to me why none of this stuff you said is in the book. Abraham was born in Ur of Chaldees, but yet you telling me he was speaking Hebrew. How do you figure that? Because Eber, that's the name where Hebrew came from. Yeah, and just like Israelites come from Israel. What that got to do with anything? You can't tell me just because his name is Eber and people in his lineages were known as Hebrews, that means he preserved a Hebrew language. You can't make that leap and assumption, especially when there's nothing to support that in the scriptures or history, and history says, in fact, contrary to that. So what you have is these people telling you something that can't be read in the book, is not implied in the book, and is not in history, and history speaks against that. Why would we believe that? Wishful thinking, sisters and brothers. Absolute Bible truth. You want to know what this Bible says, and this Bible only. No personal opinion, no speculation, no personal beliefs, and absolute Bible truth is the place for you. But if you want to go and read Eber in Genesis and create a backstory for him about him giving a charge to preserve a language, then you go and fellowship where a water swordsman at and that other brother named Jacob. You go where they are. Because they want to create stories for the patriarch. I'm giving you what the book states about these people and what history states. You follow what I'm saying? But this is the language of Canaan. I think it's, whose time is LeBar?
Yeah.
Genesis 12, we're going to read verses 5 and 6.
All right. Genesis 12, verse 5. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran. And they went forth to go into the land of Canaan. And into the land of Canaan they came.
Now, we already know that Abraham was not born in the land of Canaan. Therefore, whatever language the Canaanites were speaking, Abraham either had to learn it before he got there, or he learned it when he got there if he had to communicate with those people. That's common sense, right? Mm-hmm. What I'm going to show you is the language of Canaan and what it says about it. Because many people don't know is that Canaan, or the Canaanite language, is one of the parents of the Hebrew language. They don't know that. It's not a pure language system, brothers. We're going to read it. And everything I'm showing you, you can go to parallel resources of other books. It'll tell you the same thing. Yet when you try to show these brothers, they don't want to hear it. They just want to believe what cannot be proven in Scripture, history, or language. I'm giving you all three. For some of y'all, it's just not going to be good enough. But for those of y'all who have been following ABT for a while and know how I get down, y'all going to say, you know what? Josh brought facts to the table tonight. He brought research. All the other brothers want to just argue with him and ignore what he brings to the table. But we're going to prove it. Like I said, we ain't got to the meat of this yet. I'm enjoying myself tonight. We having a yacht party over here.
That's right.
Party favor. Let's go.
I brought my party favor, LeBron.
Me too.
Hey. Did you bring yours?
Sure, I got mine.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? This is the Canaanite language. We're going to go to this book again. Like I said, add it to your library if you can find it. I never tried to look for it. I found it at an outlet store. It's the Pentateuch and its cultural environment. G. Herbert Livingston. That's the author, right? 1987. That's when this book was written. Over 20 years old. I like getting older books anyway because they preserve the information. You follow what I'm saying? You know? So we're going to, same thing with these concordances. We're going to the Canaanite language. Look what it says about it. And like I said, you ain't got to read it out of here. You can go to other sources. I've read it out of other sources, but they were online. I don't have those sources. I wanted to read from something that I actually had in my hand, you know? And in the future, I'm going to order those other sources. But I want y'all to look this stuff up. Don't call in getting mad at me. Every place I go, every definition I give you, every geographic location I cite, go behind me and say, he said that was Mesopotamia. What did he say when I looked it up? He said that the Syrian language is the same as the Aramaic language. What did he say when I looked it up? They say that the Canaanite language is the father of the Hebrew language. Look out, check out something called the Moabite stone. Why are you at it? But this is the Pentateuch in its cultural environment. This is under the Canaanite language, page 61. Look what it says right here. There's a lot of stuff. See, a lot of Hebrew Israelites don't want to own up to this. This is how the Egyptologists be getting them. It says the Canaanite language, a member of the northwest branch of Semitic tongues. The Canaanite language, called Phoenician by the Greeks, so now you know the Canaanites were the Phoenicians, right? Appear only sporadically in Egyptian inscriptions. The latter had commercial contact with Byblos, the port city of the Canaanites. Any early native literature has disappeared because papyrus and leather were more popular as writing materials than stone or clay. Let's see what this got to do with the Bible. It says, though the limited Canaanite literature curtails research into the language, the Ugaritic materials have revealed that many words, listen to this, the Ugaric materials, this is something they found in archaeology, that they dug up, scholars, not pseudo-scholars, actual scholars, PhDs and doctors. You know what I'm saying? Not some guy just reading a Strong Concordance. You know what I'm saying? It says the Ugaric materials have revealed that many words and phrases in the poetry of the Old Testament, especially the Psalms and the wisdom literature, are basically Canaanite. Egyptologists know this stuff, and they will show this to a weak-minded Hebrew, and they will tell you that your Bible comes from Canaan, and the Canaanite deity El. So therefore, you're really worshiping a Canaanite god. You Hebrew Israelites don't even realize that you are driving the people into the hands of the Egyptologists because you don't want to admit that your language developed from the language of Canaan. That's all you got to do is say, okay, so what? It means nothing. But if you want people like a war who want to hold on to Hebrew being a pure language, then somebody comes by and they show you indisputable proof that your Hebrew language developed from the land of Canaan. Remember, you already got the mindset that there are pagan languages. So somebody just showed you that Hebrew is in fact a quote-unquote pagan language. So now you done lost your faith. Now you're an Egyptologist. Your Bible crap. They do the same trick because they know that the Hebrew language developed partly from the Canaanite language. And they show you the deity El in the Canaan, among the Canaanites. And they show you in your Bible, when you go to the Strong Concordance, one of the titles for the Most High God was El. And they'll say, see, El and El. They also use all. So don't let somebody come in and say, see, they say El, we say all. No. There's just a vowel point indication that changes the pronunciation of it, but El and all are the same. They're both spelled Alif Lamed. Same exact Hebrew word. All and El. Elohim, Elohim. Same exact Hebrew word, just vowel points changing the pronunciation. That's it. Changing the pronunciation of a word does not change the meaning of the word. So these Egyptologists will come and they will show you this stuff. And now you got Hebrew Israelites telling people that their Bible came from Canaan, Egypt, Babylon, and all other places because y'all don't want to acknowledge that the Hebrew language is not a pure language. That's how they get you. I'm showing you this before they set you up. It's no big deal. It means nothing. God created all the languages anyway. I don't care to find out that the Hebrew language developed from other languages because God is the author of all languages. So ultimately, it still all comes from God. But since y'all want to make Hebrew be a holy language and all other languages pagan, then when somebody comes along and show you that, you know, Hebrew really came from a Canaanite. Like, oh, Lord, it turns out it was pagan all along. I can't take this no more. I'm going to be an Egyptologist. That's exactly how it goes. That's why I want to debate the Egyptologists. They won't stand a chance to get me. They can throw all this crap at me. Don't faze me. But let me continue reading. Let me read that again because I know some people didn't catch that. It said, though the limited Canaanite literature curtails research into the language, the Ugaric materials have revealed that many words and phrases in the poetry of the Old Testament, and especially the Psalms and the wisdom literature, like Job, Songs of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, he says, are basically Canaanite. Parallel phrases and similarities of poetic structure have helped to establish the antiquity of the Song of Solomon. Miriam, you know that praise she was given in Exodus 15, which she calls on the name of Yah. It's showing you that came from the Canaanites. That's what they're saying. When she calls Exodus 22 and 24, the blessing of Jacob, and the Song of Moses. These all have parallel phrases and words in the Canaanite language. Because, why is that, Josh? Because I'm going to show you that the language of Canaan is one of the parents of the Hebrew language. But we're going to continue to keep this moving. See, they can't sit still long enough to get these facts.
So, Josh,
go ahead.
I got a question. So that would make a lot more sense when we read Isaiah, and the Most High referred to himself as a husband unto Israel, and then we look that word up, and it's Baal. And since these languages were so closely related to each other,
that's the reason why. Because the Hebrew language shared dialects and phrases with the Canaanite language, and one of those words was Baal. For the Canaanite,
that makes a lot more sense. That makes a lot more sense. It should make a lot more sense to people now.
Yeah. For the Hebrews, Most High God of Israel, are husband, Lord, master. That's the reason why you got fools want to debate us on is it a sin to call the Most High Lord. No, it is not. You don't understand that your Hebrew language developed from the Canaanite language. That's why it shares many dialects. That's why you can go in your Strong's Concordance or your Bible and read about Baal, the pagan deity, and Baal, the God of Israel.
That's right, because the Phoenicians and Canaanites worshiped a god they called Baal. That makes a lot more sense. Yeah.
It's the same thing with the deity El. The Canaanites have the deity El.
Exactly.
The children of Israel called their God El or Elohim. Or some people say Al or Elohim. The Muslims and Arabs say Allah. That's what people don't understand. This is why if you don't know this stuff, you get confused and you start to stray.
Yep.
That's the reason why. I'm going to show you that the reason why we got so many dialects for the name of the Father now is because that's exactly how it was in ancient Israel. I'm going to show y'all that. There's no coincidence that some people say Yahweh, some people say Yahuwah, some people say Yahweh. That's no coincidence. Because guess what? It's always been like that. But we ain't even arguing over names. We're not even arguing over pronunciations. We're arguing over dialects. And the Bible doesn't make one dialect superior to the other when it comes to the name.
Yep. No, that's what these men are doing.
That's what they're doing. But we still get in the meat of this, right? This is why you got to sit back, chill. You already know what you believe. So you don't have to convince me. You already know I know what you believe. I've heard the pure language that God is going to restore is Hebrew in Zephaniah 3. Don't say that. The language of creation was Hebrew. Don't say that. The language Adam spoke was Hebrew. Does not say that. But we're going to put this to rest once and for all. We are getting there, right? Let's look up the Akkadian language in the same book. You know what I'm saying? The Peniel in its cultural environment. And like I said, you don't just have to look at it in this book. I went online. You can find this information in other sources. Tell you the same thing. Egyptologists know this. It's time for you ignorant Hebrews to get study and learn in the history of your people, culture, religion, and languages. So these guys can come and trick you. This is the reason why I'm tired of seeing people like Polite and Ray Higgins shred Hebrew Israelites on simple matters that you should already know. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Some guys should be able to hold a cup of water to you. Because they're willing to do a little bit more research than you're ignorant behind. And now we over here arguing with each other over a syllable while they steady getting the converts.
Yep.
Because nobody told you that the Canaanite language is one of the parents of the Hebrew language, and somebody show you El, or somebody show you Baal. That's a wrap. I don't see Egyptologists slam guys with this. And there are other dialects. All the literature that you read it, Canaanite style. But it makes sense if you read this. We're going to, let me get here with you. Let me get to it. This is Akkadian language. This is page 58 in that same book. Y'all better look this stuff up. And I still got some stuff to show y'all, man. Like I said, I'm giving it all to you. As I already said, 4 hours. More than enough time. This right here is about the Akkadian language. Look what it says. Akkadian is one of the major parents of the Hebrew tongue. Wait a minute. Akkadian is one of the major parents of the Hebrew tongue. And many obscure words and phrases in Genesis have been clarified by comparing Hebrew and Akkadian. In other words that appear in your King James Bible, in the Hebrew, that we didn't know the meaning for or understood was clarified by scholars who compared it to Akkadian words. They said, we know what this word means now. Mm-hmm. Because Hebrew derives from Akkadian.
Right.
Not just Akkadian. See, they ain't going to tell you this stuff. Hebrew is not a pure language. But we're going to read that too. Look what it says. Some features of Hebrew grammar and vocabulary have been made more intelligible by tracing them back to Akkadian. Wow. Mm-hmm. This is a far cry from a brother calling in trying to tell you a story that you can't even read in the Bible. Y'all, debate talk for you audience, don't fall for this crap. I really do believe y'all smarter than that. Who you gonna believe? Somebody who's giving you facts, history, language, geography, or somebody that's calling in trying to tell you something happened that is not even implied in the scriptures. You be the judge. This isn't hard. They trying to convince you that your Bible lying. Your Bible say, whatever area you were scattered to in that land, that's the tongue that was spoken. Plainly tell you that. What area was Abraham's father scattered to? Obviously, Ur the Chaldees. The Chaldees, the land of his nativity. That means that's where he was born.
Uh-huh.
So what language did he grow up speaking? Whatever language that was spoken over there. Aramaic. No, man. Terah was given the charge of Hebrew, the Hebrew language preserved it, which he got from his father, which goes all the way back to Hebrew. Where in the heck does it say that? Really? Come on, man. Don't come at me with these myths. You know what I'm saying? You guys in all act out are very weak. You know what I'm saying? Very weak. But want to debate somebody, though. You know what I'm saying? This is the reason why ABT rejects a lot of debates. Because look I just gave you an example of what we get. I throw facts out. They tell me what they think. But they want to drag me into the lion's den. You know what I'm saying?
Or you address a matter that they bring to the table and they completely ignore it. It's a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? They had a nerve. I want to debate you. Okay. And then, I mean, you say you want to debate somebody. Then when I ask you a simple question or I address something that you put on the table, I addressed it. You wipe everything off the table and say, here's another thing. Like, nah, dude, ain't nobody got time for stuff like that.
Right.
For real.
The Bible warns us about dealing with people who are full of debate. That means they just like to argue. Yep. The Bible warns us about that. I don't reject debates because, I'm afraid, he's scared. I reject debates because I know some people who challenge me are just full of debate. You follow what I'm saying? Besides, why would I need to be afraid when I'm bringing facts to the table like this? Who do I need to feel? I know these facts can't be disputed. I know that. So you're going to call in and you're going to say a personal attack against me or you're going to tell me what you think. But we still get to this Hebrew language. I've already showed you enough evidence to show you that Abraham was speaking Hebrew, but some of y'all still believe that it was just floating around out there before all that. Okay, that's cool. We already just proved to you that Akkadian is one of the fathers of the Hebrew language.
Well, Josh, hold on. I got a question, right?
Go ahead.
Now, you've already proven that Abraham spoke Aramaic, right?
That's right.
So why do brothers have a problem with the fact that the Messiah spoke Aramaic in the New Testament, and the New Testament gives you evidence in the daggone literature?
Which we're going to address that too. We're going to address that too. I'm going to show all of this stuff, man. Like I said, I'm giving it all to them tonight. Because at the end of the day, it's just going to be them believing what they want to believe, but the facts are out there. See, our job at ABT is to put the facts out there, sisters and brothers. We're going to put the facts out there. Your job is to go behind us and see if this stuff checks out. Once you see that it checks out, you are given the responsibility of believing the truth or holding on to your doctrine. Some brothers want to choose to hold on to their doctrine. I have no problem with that. But don't keep coming at me with it because I don't want to hear it. Because I've already shown you that it's just your opinion.
And we heard it years ago.
Yeah. And like I said, this class is 7 or 8 years old. You know what I'm saying? Few modifications, but at the core, it's essentially the same class. Let me finish reading this. On the Akkadian, the contributions of this language to a better understanding of the Old Testament, however, have not been exhausted. Meaning they are yet to use the Akkadian language to the full to help us understand the Old Testament better.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that means. That's what where the Hebrew language comes from. That's one of the places it comes from. But I'm going to show you that. Now, we're going to show you the same thing in another source, the Holman Bible Dictionary. Notice I'm just pulling out sources. I told his brother about a source. He thought I was being on the Ruach. Okay, you go with that. You go with that. You run with that. Give me a break.
And no, this is one of my favorite ones. If you want to be smart, follow Josh.
Who don't want to be smart?
Who don't want to be smart, man?
Wisdom leads to salvation.
That's right.
The Bible tells you the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Once you learn to fear the Lord, you get wisdom on how to serve Him. Learning how to serve Him gives you salvation. I really don't understand what the problem is, but we're in the Holman Bible Dictionary under the word Hebrew as the language. Again, something they're not going to tell you. It says on the Hebrew, biblical or classical Hebrew belongs to the Northwest Semitic branch of Semitic languages, which includes, the Semitic languages, Ugaritic, Phoenician, y'all know that's Canaanite. Listen to this.
Yep.
Moabite, look up the Moabite stone. Edomite, wait, the language of Edom is a Semitic language? Of course, he comes from Shem, don't he?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But Canaan don't come from Shem, but it's still considered a Semitic language because of something I'm going to show you later, right? It says, this linguistic group, notice the name Hebrew in that group, this linguistic group is referred to commonly as Canaanite.
Mm-hmm.
It named Hebrew in that category. This linguistic group, Ugaritic, Phoenician, Moabite, Edomite, Ammonite is commonly referred to as Canaanite. Why? Because that's the language it came from. Come on, y'all. This ain't hard. This is another source. This is not the book that I just read for y'all. This is the Holman Bible Dictionary. You can find this online. There's no excuse for these teachers not to know this. They're just not telling y'all. Right? It says, which is called Canaanite. Although some prefer not to call Ugaritic a Canaanite dialect. Notice the only exception that was on the list was Ugaritic. It didn't even mention Hebrew because they know Hebrew comes from the Canaanite language. They know that. You know what I'm saying? They know that. That ain't even a debate. Right? But let me show you something else. We're going to go to Isaiah 19 and 18. Let me show you what God calls the Hebrew language. Maybe you'll be convinced once you see it there. Let's read it there. Who turned this to read?
It's on me.
Isaiah 19 and 18. Let's see what God calls the Hebrew language. Maybe then you will see. Because the history shows Canaanite, right?
Yep.
Let's see what the Bible calls it. Isaiah 19 and 18.
Isaiah chapter 19, verse 18. In that day shall 5 cities in the land of Egypt speak the language of Canaan, and swear to the Lord of hosts, one shall be called the city of destruction.
And if you read this whole chapter, this is talking about the doom of Egypt and how they're going to eventually call on the Lord in the language of Canaan. And this was already fulfilled. I'll show you that in another class, but this ain't no future prophecy. It's in the language of Canaan. Your own Bible calls Israel language the language of Canaan. There ain't enough proof that it came from the Canaanite language.
Nope, not for these people.
There ain't enough.
Nope.
It makes sense that it calls the language of Canaan. The history supports it. Then you go in your Bible. Now you understand why it called the language. Those didn't say the Jews' language, as they do in other places in the Bible. Isaiah 19, it tells you exactly what, in fact, it was. It's actually the language of Canaan. At this late in the scripture, I feel if it said something like this during the time of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, this late in the scripture, it calls it the language of Canaan.
Yep. Very late. Yep.
That means the Canaanite language. And this is talking about Israel's language. That's what Israel's language was. You want to argue? You think there were Canaanites in the Garden of Eden? Really? Really? You really believe that? If you believe that, I don't got nothing to say to you because you believe anything. You believe giraffes fly. You believe you believe bunnies lay eggs. You'll go for anything if you believe that Canaanites was in the Garden of Eden. But that's what they called it, the language of Canaan. And that's about Israel's language. Because it's talking about them calling on the Lord in that language, the Egyptians. Language of Canaan, sisters and brothers. Told you I proved it to you. But I'm still not done. See, I can, if I wanted to, I can end the class right here and we can just open up the phones. But no, I'm mad. I'm upset at this falsehood. No, I'm not letting them off this easy. You follow what I'm saying? Because they've been perpetrating this lie far too long. No, I ain't letting them off this easy. I'm going to keep on killing this language of Canaan. I already don't prove it. Let's keep it moving, right? We've been dealing with the development of the Hebrew language. We're going to go to yet another Bible dictionary. We're going to the Eastern Bible Dictionary under Hebrew language. This is for all them folks that think they can pinpoint the correct pronunciation and spelling of the Father's and Son's name. This is directed at you. This is directed at you. You follow what I'm saying? And I'm still not done. This is the Eastern Bible Dictionary. Look what it says right here under the Hebrew language or Hebrew language. It says, for the 1,000 years between Moses and the Babylonian exile, the Hebrew language underwent little or no modification. From Moses to the Babylonian exile, pretty much stays the same. That's what it says. It preserves all through a remarkable uniformity of structure. From the first, it appears in its full maturity of development. First, this is letting you know that it was developing that whole time. You follow what I'm saying? But look what it says right here. But through intercourse with Damascus, Assyria, and Babylon, from the time of David, and more particularly from the period of the exile, Babylonian exile, it comes under the influence of the Aramaic idiom. And this is seen in the writings, which date from this period. Listen to this part. It was never spoken in its purity by the Jews after their return from Babylon. Hebrew's a pure language? I already showed you it never was. And even after that, it still underwent many changes. It was never spoken in its purity. Yet, you're going to tell me that you got the name exactly the way it was pronounced. When history said it was never spoken in purity by them. So even if you go to people, scholars, that believe that the closest name is Yahweh, or you believe that the closest name is Yahuwah, you simply don't know, because it says since the exile, it was never spoken in its purity again. It was forever changed.
2,000 years later, they got it exactly right, huh?
But 3,000 years later, you got it exactly right. Give me a break. That's why, sisters and brothers, we have so many dialects, which is why ABT has no problem with Yah. We have no problem with Yahuwah. We have no problem with Yahweh, because back then, there were many different dialects for the name. You can't just pick one and be like, that's it. But I'm still not done. Like I said, I'm mad. I'm going to shut it down. Right? Look what it said. I'm going to read that again. It was never spoken in its purity by the Jews after their return from Babylon. They now spoke Hebrew with a large admixture of Aramaic or Chaldee, which latterly became the predominant element in the national language. In other words, Aramaic pretty much weeded Hebrew out. Not completely. They still preserved it as a language of religion in the synagogue. But as far as everyday language and calling on the name of the Most High, it was mostly Aramaic. This after the exile. We ain't even got to the time of Christ yet.
I'm about to say, that's why we see so many Aramaic overtones in the New Testament.
Exactly. That explains that. It was never spoken in its purity. This is from another Bible dictionary, the Eastern Bible Dictionary. You can go buy this book. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to say, you know what? I don't care about that book Josh read from, about the Pentateuch. I don't care about Josephus. I don't care about the Bible. I don't care about all these words he looked up. I'm telling y'all, Hebrew was in the Garden of Eden, y'all. I'm telling you. They about to find this. Give me a break. It was the language of creation. No, it wasn't. Come on, y'all. But I'm still not done. Right now, I'm going to deal with the development of the, I'm going to deal with, let's see, what I'm going to deal with right now. I'm going to deal with the Hebrew language. Let's go again to the Pentateuch in its cultural environment. Let's see what it says about the Hebrew language. We're going to page 61 and 62. This is easy research. Easy.
And just to prove how easily research is, I'm looking at two of my Bible dictionaries right now, and it's saying the exact same thing as yours is saying about the Hebrew language. Talking about, it's known as the language of Canaan, all that stuff. Everything that's just been brought out. I'm telling you,
everything.
Research it. It's all there. It all lines.
But the Bible itself just said it in Isaiah.
It did.
Mm-hmm. But
is that not good enough for these people?
The Bible itself calls it the language of Canaan. That link in the scriptures called the language of Canaan because that's where it comes from. But let me show you this. This is The Pentateuch in Its Cultural Environment by G. Herbert Livingston. I'm going to keep repeating this title, so I know some of y'all going to get it, right? This is under the Hebrew language. And it says, the Hebrew language is a highly mixed tongue. The child of several parents. Let me just read that again. Because if it was the language of creation, it wouldn't have a parent. If it was the language Adam spoke, it wouldn't have a parent. But the Most High. So let me read this again. The Hebrew language is a highly mixed tongue. The child of several parents. How can something that's mixed to begin with be something pure in the future?
That don't make sense.
And this is in the beginning. I already showed you, according to the Eastern Bible Dictionary, that at that point it started getting tampered with even more. But you gonna tell me after reading all of this, you believe that you know the name for sure? And I'm still not done dealing with this topic. So just in case you still think, I'm telling you, man, I can prove it. I'm gonna take you to the Paleo-Hebrew. Akkadian predates the Paleo-Hebrew and ancient Sumer. Their language, it predates it, and it tells you in history that Hebrew came from them. Look what it says. The Hebrew language is a highly mixed tongue, the child of several parents. It is the result of a fusion of Akkadian, Canaanite, and Aramaic. Wait a minute. It came partly from Aramaic too, which means Aramaic predates the Hebrew language.
Well, we saw that with Abraham, right?
But that's what Abraham spoke. So why would you have a problem with that?
Mm-hmm. Because you got a prejudice, that's why.
That's what it is. But look what else it says. Some think ancient Arabic was also involved. All y'all have to do, because he probably listening, is ask Rahim Ali about that, because he did a real long discourse on the Semitic roots between the Arabic language and the Hebrew language. Let him call in, he'll explain that to you.
Hey, I guess that explains Elohim, huh?
Uh-huh. See how all this stuff is just getting answered left and right.
Yep.
Left and right. Do you believe that Allah? Remember, the brother asked me that. Do you believe that Allah is a dialect for God? Some people believe Hebrew came from it. Some scholars, there are people online, credible scholars, both Islamic and non-Islamic, that can show you persuasive evidence that Hebrew has its roots in the Arabic language as well, which ain't hard to believe because it's derived from several languages anyway. See, I don't want to hear all this crap. If you somebody who's in the garden, I don't want to hear that. Deal with this. Deal with history. Absolute Bible truth. No personal opinions, no speculation, no belief. I'm showing you this in several books. Several. And all you got for me is the charge of the Hebrew language was given to Eber to preserve the language, and he got it to Abraham, and Abraham spoke Hebrew. Where in the world does it say all of that? You telling me that the Hebrew language was in the Garden of Eden when it said the Hebrew language is a highly mixed tongue? How many tongues existed before Adam? You follow what I'm saying? So, using a little common sense, if the Hebrew language derived from earlier languages, how in the world could it have been the language that Adam spoke? This is simple. This ain't even debatable. That might be going to your family tree, and all this time you've been believing that a grandson was actually the grandfather because you're getting the lineages mixed up. And I take you to the family tree and show you that who you thought was the grandson is actually the grandfather, and vice versa. Wouldn't you be stupid to still try to argue that grandson came before that grandfather? Wouldn't that be stupid? I can prove to you that this is actually the grandfather. So how can the grandson predate the grandfather? The grandson comes from the grandfather. So the Hebrew language came from earlier other languages. How you going to tell me it was in the Garden of Eden? How you going to tell me it was at Tower of Babel even? Come on, y'all. Be smart. We should have no enemies before bringing this. Not from the Hebrew community. Yeah, we got scores of enemies. Because we're just telling you this. It's ridiculous. They're going to say all kinds of things about us. Oh, Josh arrogant. You can't believe him. He's a hypocrite. He got agenda. This is scholarship. You mad at me for giving you history? Don't you want to know the history of your people?
Man, they should be thanking you for showing them how to deal with Egyptologists who play on words, for real.
They should be. But we're going to keep this moving. Like I said, still not done. We're going to deal with the languages of the Bible. We winding it down. I ain't going to keep it here too long. But I think the point was well proven a long time ago. I could have went a lot longer than this. I ain't want to do that. But we're going to finish this. We get through this. This is Daniel chapter 1. They only spoke Hebrew. They only prayed to God in Hebrew. You only got to say stuff in Hebrew. That begs the question of what name did Abraham, or how did Abraham pronounce the name of God? The Hebrew language wasn't around yet. So, did he say Yahuwah in Sumerian? You don't even know the Hebrew language. I'll take you to a language that's even older than that. You got to tell me, you got to break down the Sumerian language. I just gave you a new chore. Now you got to break that language down. Come on, y'all. It's time to stop playing these games, man. It's really time to stop. You can call me whatever you want, but you can't prove them wrong. People going all other directions. They kept the customs of their fathers. I agree with that. But can you show me that the custom of Abraham's father Eber was to preserve the Hebrew language? See, that's what they'll do. They'll say something about the patriarch that's definitely undeniably true. But then they'll add something else with that can't be proven and combine the two together and say, there you go. It is true that they kept the customs of their fathers. Can't debate that. But is it true that one of those customs was preserving the Hebrew language from Eber? No. History shows that couldn't have possibly been the case. Who was the first person in the scriptures regarded to mix truth with a lie?
It was Satan.
Satan. Serpent and Garden of Eden. Ye shall not surely die. But he was telling the truth about the eyes being open. That's how Satan operates. They'll tell you something that's most definitely true, verifiable. But then they'll tell you something that you can't read nowhere, and they mix the two together and say, this is the truth. I'm not falling for that. I'm not falling for that. You got to come better than that. This is Daniel, chapter 1. Who turn is to read?
I lost track.
just dive in it, Antoine. Just dive in it. Daniel chapter 1, read verses 1 to 4.
All right. Daniel chapter. You said chapter 4 or chapter 1?
Chapter 1, verses 1 to 4.
Okay. Daniel chapter 1, verse 1. In the third year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem, and besieged it.
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand, with part of the vessels of the house of God, which he carried into the land of Shinar, to the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasure house of his God.
Mm-hmm.
And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of his eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel, and of the king's seed, and of the princes.
Now, certain of the children of Israel, because people don't know that there was more than one Babylonian captivity, and Daniel came in, I think, the first one. You follow what I'm saying? He came in the first group, right? Let's see what he's selecting Daniel and his brethren for. Go ahead.
Verse 4, children in whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans,
which was Aramaic. Right? Now, if you read verse 5, they tried to give Daniel and his brethren defiled meat, which they refused to eat because it went against the dietary law. Well, why didn't Daniel then refuse to learn the Chaldean language?
Right.
Seems to me that if you supposed to be speaking pure Hebrew, then and that was a sin, they would be like, we don't want your meat and we don't want your language. Why would they accept the language but kick against the meat if both were supposedly a sin?
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all even think when y'all read the scriptures? I'm starting to wonder. They learned the language of Aramaic. So some of y'all might say, okay, well, they agreed to that because they were living among the Babylonians. They had to understand their language. Let's see what else Daniel did with this Aramaic language. Because Daniel could still be like, hey, I got to speak your language. But my scriptures are going to be recorded in pure Hebrew. Let's see if Daniel said that. Let's go to the Smith Bible Dictionary. Let's see what language Daniel is written in. We're going to the Smith Bible Dictionary, page 136, under the heading Book of Daniel, or Daniel, the Book of. And look what it reads. The Book of Daniel stands at the head of a series of writings in which the deepest thoughts of the Jewish people found expression after the close of the prophetic era. Daniel is composed partly in the vernacular Aramaic, which would make sense because Daniel lived among the Chaldeans. That was their language.
Yeah.
Why in the world would he write the holy word of God in Aramaic if we're supposed to be a Hebrew language only people?
Right.
And you know he wrote about the Most High God of Israel. He had to write the Tetragrammaton.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to tell me the Tetragrammaton remained intact in Aramaic, I got some bad news for you a little later. It's really bad news. Because you might say, well, when we went from Hebrew to Aramaic, it still sounded the same. Okay, but let me finish this, right? It said, Daniel is composed partly in vernacular Aramaic, Chaldee, which is good. When you see Chaldee or Aramaic or Aramean or Syriac, you know they're talking about Aramaic. Remember these terms. Look what it says. And partly in the sacred Hebrew, right? The introduction, Daniel 1 to 2, or it even tells you where you can find Aramaic. Daniel 1 to 2, 4a, is written in Hebrew. On the occasion of the Syriac, i.e., Aramaic, answer of the Chaldeans, the language changes to Aramaic. And this is retained to the close of the 7th chapter. Chapter 2, verses 4, chapter 2 and chapters 4 to 7. Verses 4 to 7 it says, the personal introduction of Daniel as the writer of the text, chapter 8 and 1, is marked by the resumption of the Hebrew, which continues to the close of the book, chapter 8 to 12. So the book of Daniel is composed partly in Aramaic. Why would Daniel do that? If we're supposed to be a Hebrew language only people, if the heathens all had pagan languages. We already read that Daniel learned the tongue of the Chaldees. He even composed the holy word of God, which means if he would write it in another language, he would say it in another language.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all already know he was speaking Aramaic. Our forefather Abraham, he started out speaking Aramaic. We read that. Hebrew came later. We read that. You show me a source where it proves that that language was Hebrew. No, it's not there. It derived from the Canaanite language, the Akkadian language. It named another one too. Some even say Arabic. This is a lie, sisters and brothers. I'm going to deal with this dialect. Let me show you something, though. We still keeping it moving. We're going to look at the book of Esther, another book in the Bible. We're on the Smith Bible Dictionary, page 182. All they want to do is argue. Anybody calling in disagree, they ain't going to address any of these facts. They ain't going to show no scholarship. They're going to tell you what they think. I'll listen to what you think, but I ain't going to go for it. I ain't going to buy into it. And we ain't even got to the New Testament yet. You trying to tell me that Zephaniah is talking about the Hebrew language? That's a pure language? Do y'all know what pure means? Never been spoken. Never been used. That's why you call a to restore. Use some common sense. Ain't nothing pure about the Hebrew language. It's a mixture just like English.
Mm-hmm. You know what, too, Josh? That goes right along with the book telling you that you're going to receive a name you never had, or Messiah going to have a name written that no man ever known.
Nobody knows it. So that's another way of saying that name is pure. Because if nobody's ever spoken it before, that means it's never been used.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's why it's called a pure language. How can Hebrew, you're going to restore the Hebrew language to a pure form? Hebrew was never pure.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as pure English. From the very beginning, English was a child of another language.
Right. And that's still evolving every day.
And that's still evolving. If I gave you some old English, you wouldn't even be able to read it.
No, it's people that speak in certain parts of this country, they speak English, but I do not understand what they be saying.
Right. Well,
exactly.
Don't forget we read in the Eastern Bible Dictionary, and I'm going to read this again, about the Hebrew language, but through the intercourse with Damascus, Assyria, and Babylon, from the time of David, and more particularly from the period of the exile, it comes under the influence of the Aramaic idiom. And this is seen in the writings which date from this period. Again, I can't emphasize this point enough. This is what it says. It was never spoken in its purity by the Jews after the return from Babylon. That means it was we already know it was a mixed language anyway. Mm-hmm. But whenever it developed to before the exile, it mixed even more afterwards. It was already mixed to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
This is over thousands of years of mixing. And notice it's telling you that every time Israel came into contact with a major empire, that influenced the Hebrew language.
Mm-hmm.
You follow what I'm saying? Look how many captivities Israel has been in with a language that was never pure to begin with. And you gonna tell me, despite all of this, you know that the name is Yahweh or Yahuwah. You know. Give me a break. It just don't add up. Especially when you consider that Hebrew was never a pure language to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not play games anymore. Be mad at me. Hate me if you want to, but hating me or bad about me ain't going to make these facts go away. It's out there now. People don't hurt it. Right? But I still got more. Still got more. Like Club Lane said on Rocky 3, I got a lot of more. Got a lot of more. You know what I'm saying? This is the book of Esther, page 182. Look what it says about Esther. The Hebrew is very like that of Ezra and part of the Chronicles, generally pure, but mixed with some words of Persian origin and some of Chaldaic affinity. So the book of Esther is not even written in pure Hebrew. It got Persian words in it. Remember, the Persians come from Elam, so it got some Elamite words in it.
Yep.
Right? And it got some old Chaldaic. They go to Aramaic again. And I'm going to show you, by the time you get to the New Testament, it was so many dialects of Aramaic, it would have made your head spin. I'm going to show y'all that by the time you get to the New Testament. Well, it says when when Jesus spoke to Paul, he spoke to him in the Hebrew tongue. Ha ha, got you. You think so? I know somebody got that waiting in the wing. Ooh, I'm going to cut him when I read this.
Oh,
sorry.
Man.
I'm going to take it from you before you get a chance to use it against me. Sorry. But we see Esther. We got our own Bible, books in the Bible. And I'm not even going to get into the Septuagint. Y'all don't even want to get me started on the Septuagint, because I can go even longer with the Septuagint alone.
That's a whole other class.
That's a whole nother. And believe it or not, I got somebody trying to debate me on that. Documented history. Mm-hmm. You want to debate me on documented history? Like, I'm making this crap up. This is history according to Josh. That's what it says. Y'all need to start acting like, I don't understand some of these Hebrews, y'all. I really don't. Y'all need to start acting like children who can't accept that there's no Santa Claus.
Oh, man. You taking it there.
That's how a lot of y'all acting. There's no Santa Claus. There's no Eber passing down and preserving the Hebrew language to Abraham and his descendants. That's a myth. It is as made up as Santa Claus and his flying reindeer. Y'all just gonna have to eat that. Simple and plain. Come on, y'all. Grow up. Let's be men about this. right? But let's keep it moving. We're going to go to the Holman Bible Dictionary on the Aramaic. We're getting into the New Testament now. I couldn't wait to do this. Because you got somebody telling me that Hebrew was the spoken dialect. We just read that Hebrew was blared out by Aramaic, right? We read that in the Eastern Bible Dictionary. Now we're going to another Bible dictionary. All of this is history, too. Go to an encyclopedia. We're looking at the word Aramaic, page 81. I'm going to let y'all see this. Like I said, I'm throwing it all at them, y'all. Throwing it all at them. No holding back. I want you to deal. Y'all got to deal with this. Like I said, y'all got to eat this. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got to show me that this is wrong. Somebody got to call in and show me that this scholarship is flawed. When all the scholars are saying the same thing. Your elder probably didn't even graduate from high school, let alone got a PhD in archaeology or geology or language. He probably didn't graduate from high school. But he got more credibility than people who specialize in this. When you have doctor or PhD on your title, that means you specialize. That's your area of expertise. You wouldn't let a guy who told you he'd never even been under the hood of a car fix your car, would you? Would you trust him? Man, I don't even know what it looked like under the hood of a car. Versus a qualified, credentialed mechanic? You wouldn't do that, would you? But when it comes to your salvation, that's what you do.
And then they had a nerve.
Go ahead.
I said, and then they had a nerve to be like, they'll say something like, let's do the how do I say it? That's they'll be like
Y'all say what? I didn't even hear you.
Sound like you cut out.
Yeah, you went in and out for a second. Say that again.
No, that's me, Josh. It sounded like he got cut out or something.
Who, me? Okay, I need him to say that again because I didn't hear it. You know what I'm saying? I cut out for a second. Say that again.
Antoine, you still there? Antoine, you there? You hear us? Yeah, it must be something with his phone or something like that.
Hello.
Yeah, he may take his music problem.
Yeah, my bad. My face hit the phone. But no, I was saying that, you know, it's like I hit the mute button on accident. I apologize. It's like, you know, they'll have the nerve, and sometimes they'll tell you like dismiss the sources, but in the same breath as they use it. I think you touched on it a little bit earlier, Josh, about how they tell you not to use sources, but then they actually go back to that source to try to prove their revelation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So they'll be like, these old lying scholars, and then they'll like, okay, let's go to this dictionary, or let's go to this lexicon.
Oh man.
Let's go to this book. Let's go to this scroll.
Or they'll be like, you know, hey, listen, brothers, listen. You can't. I mean, the vowel points was added, and then 10 minutes later they'll be like, let's go to Strong's. I'm like, well, dang, brother, you know what's vowel points in that? And they'll just do it with a straight face. And I'll be like, man, you got to be kidding me. They doing stuff like that. But that's the stuff they do, though. I mean, straight up, that's the stuff they be doing. And to me, that's just like, you know, it's mind-boggling that people would do stuff like that. But you know, I mean, when you're dealing with doctrines like this, it's just like with so much folly. It's like people they don't even realize because there's so much folly. Like they come up with all kind of stuff. Like even they start lying and then won't even realize they lied because you know they're dealing with so much folly because you know it's hard to believe a lie anyway because it's a lie, right? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So they'll be lied about stuff, but they're telling you in one breath, don't listen to these sources, and then they'll take you to a source. You got to be careful. You got to watch out for stuff like that because they will do that in a heartbeat. Don't listen to it. Man, they added vowel points. They added this in there, and then they'll take you to the same scholar that's still messing with them same vowel points and everything and tell you to believe it. You know what I'm saying? You got to watch out.
Mm-hmm. And I always found it amazing that a source is valuable or valid until I quote it. You know what I'm saying? Once I cite it, it ain't valuable no more. You dismiss it. But when you quote it, it's authentic. Come on, y'all. This ain't a personal attack. This is just facts, y'all. It's time for us just to get it. This is just what it is. You know? But let me show y'all this. Now we're in the New Testament under Aramaic. So far we know the Aramaic language was the language spoken in Mesopotamia. Chaldees was an area in Mesopotamia. Also ancient Sumer, right? That's the language that Abraham was speaking because that's where he was born at. That's where his father was born at. You follow what I'm saying? You can't say that the Hebrew language was passed down to him from Eber, because the Hebrew language developed later from languages that already existed. We read that. That's history. You follow what I'm saying? And if you don't believe it, your own Bible calls it the language of Canaan. Why would the Bible call Hebrew the language of Canaan if it wasn't the Canaanite language? That's common sense. And y'all know one no Canaanites in no Garden of Eden. Follow what I'm saying? But let me read this. Y'all still there? Y'all kind of quiet. Y'all still there?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We're here.
This is on the New Testament on the Aramaic. Look what it says. Now, I want y'all to pay close attention to this one. The wide diffusion, by the way, we're in the Holman Bible Dictionary. The wide diffusion of Aramaic, along with its flexibility and adaptability, resulted in the emergence of various dialects. Hold up. 2 or 3? Various. Oh, but it gets even better because it's going to start listing the dialects, right? All of these are dialects that were spoken during the time of Jesus of Aramaic alone. Forget how Aramaic influenced Hebrew. Forget the fact that Hebrew was already a mixed language. Now we're dealing with Aramaic alone and his many dialects. All spoken by Israel. Look what it says right here. In Syria, Palestine, the Western group includes Jewish Palestinian Aramaic, that's one dialect. Samaritan, that's another dialect. Palmyrene, that's another dialect. And Nabatean, that's another dialect. Jewish Palestinian Aramaic words and phrases occur in the New Testament. Wow. What is this doing in the New Testament if Israel wasn't speaking it? And history just told you they had all these Aramaic dialects walking around. It even told you which particular Aramaic they were speaking. And look what it gives you. Mark 14:36. Talitha Kumi. Jesus said that. Made no lie. History supports it. Language supports it. Geography supports it. And scripture supports it. Jesus spoke Aramaic. And the particular Aramaic he spoke was called Jewish Palestinian Aramaic. Why is he using these words? But then again, we already read in the Eastern Bible Dictionary that Aramaic pretty much took over anyway since the exile. Right? But you got a brother who want to argue with me that wasn't the case. Okay, whatever. What else it says right here? Mark 5:41, Lama Sabachthani. Why hast thou forsaken me? That's what Jesus said on the cross. That's Palestinian Aramaic. Jesus' some of his last words on the cross were uttered in Aramaic, calling on God as he died in Aramaic. If any time was a time to speak the so-called pure language of the Hebrews and to use the name, that would have been it. It doesn't matter, sisters and brothers. It matters to them, but it don't matter to the Most High. Look what else it says. The Palestinian Talmud, and the Targum, translations of Old Testament books into Aramaic, also were written in Palestinian Jewish Aramaic. That's your Peshitta, sisters and brothers. You got brothers trying to throw the Peshitta at me, talking about that's Hebrew. No, the Peshitta is Aramaic. Look it up. Mm-hmm. It's not Hebrew, it's Aramaic. Look what else it says. The Eastern Mesopotamian group includes Babylonian Jewish Aramaic, Mandaean, and Syriac. It just gave you 3 more dialects in Mesopotamia alone. Now, why am I showing y'all this? These are the dialects that was being spoken by Israel and their neighbors. Different dialects, same language, right? Same language. Keep in mind what we read about what happened to the Hebrew language and what it was in the beginning, and all the different dialects that developed from a dialect that overshadowed the Hebrew language. So you got a language that was never put to begin with, picked up stuff from Damascus, Assyria, and Babylon, was overshadowed by Aramaic, and then that right there blended out into many dialects. Now, after all of that and thousands of years later, you going to let some guy jump up and tell you he know exactly what that word was? What that name, how it was pronounced? Give me a break. Be serious. If you believe that, you might well become an Egyptologist right now. Don't even waste time. Just go ahead and join Polite in the game right now. Because you right for the picking. This is history, sisters and brothers. Learn the history of your people. But still not done. Because let's go to that one they're going to try to throw at me. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I know a lot of y'all might want to ask some questions or make some comments. But y'all hear this. Acts 26. Let me show y'all this. Because I know somebody going to hit me with this. I got you now, Josh. You might think you do. Let me show you. Acts 26, 13 to 14. No, I'm going to go here. You think I'm going to overlook this? This one they trump card in the Hebrew tongue, it said. Show me. Ain't hard than that. It sure do say that. Ain't no need. Acts 26, verse 13 to 14.
Acts 26,
okay.
Verse 13. You ready?
13 to 14. When you get that, go ahead and read that.
All right, verse 13. At midday, O king, I saw in the way a light from heaven, above the brightness of the sun, shining round about me, and then was journey with me. And when we were all fallen to the earth, I heard a voice speaking unto me and saying in the Hebrew tongue, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? It is hard for thee to kick against the pricks.
What tongue did it say he spoke to him in, LeVar?
It say Hebrew right here in the English.
What tongue did it say, Antoine?
It says Hebrew.
It says Hebrew. I guess it's an open and shut case. Only problem is the people who believe this, they made the bad decision of believing the strong concordance. You know what I'm saying? That's the only problem, because let me show you. The history don't lie, sisters and brothers, and I'm going to show you that the King James agrees if you look up these words. We're going to go to the word translated Hebrew here. That's, let me get here. That's 1446 in the Greek section. Again, the word translated Hebrew, 1446 in the Greek section. And it says, from G1443, the Hebraistic, that is Hebrew, or Jewish Chaldee language. What is Chaldee, y'all?
Aramaic.
Aramaic. He was not speaking to him in Hebrew. Well, why did the King James translate to Hebrew? Because the Hebrews adopted the Aramaic language, so it became their language.
Language of Hebrew.
He was not speaking to him in Hebrew. He was speaking to him in Aramaic. But just to prove to you that other translations of the Bible even know this. Just look it up. It said it was Aramaic, right? Let me show you this. We're going to the NIV, right? We looked it up in the Strong. Chaldee, that means Aramaic, right? This is the NIV, Acts 26 and 14. Look what it says right here. We all fell to the ground, and I heard a voice saying to me in Aramaic, Saul, Saul, why do you persecute me? It is hard for you to kick against the goals. Why in the world would they translate that Aramaic? Because they know the Greek word translated that was referring to Aramaic. You just looked it up and saw it for yourself. Then look at another one. NLT, New Living Translations, Acts 26, verse 14. And it says, we all fell down, and I heard a voice saying to me in Aramaic, Saul, Saul, why are you persecuting me? It is hard for you to fight against my will. Same thing. Aramaic. We're going to the New American Standard Bible, Acts 26 and 14. And it says, and I heard a voice saying to me in a Hebrew dialect, Saul, Saul. Now, old Josh, you made a mistake right here, but here's the problem. It has a little heading right here with the letter A next to it, right? And it tells you to refer down and look at this note, this footnote, and it tells you Jewish Aramaic. So just when you thought you had me, they telling you it's actually Jewish Aramaic. So no, Jesus did not speak to Paul in Hebrew. He spoke to him in Aramaic. And if you look it up in the Strong, That's exactly what it tells you. But still not done. Let's move on. Because I got to tell y'all this, right? Let's go to Matthew. Let's go to, let's go to John chapter 19. We're going to read it in John. John 19 and 20. You're going to have to throw away a lot of stuff to reject this lesson. And get you a Sacred Name Bible if you don't believe me. Oh, it's in the Sacred Name Bible too, tell you that's Aramaic. They tell you that. Get you a Sacred Name Bible if it has the New Testament in it. And read what it says.
Language of Babylon.
Language of Babylon. Those are history and the language and the geography agreeing. I can't believe somebody would even try to debate this at this point. John 19 and 20. One of y'all get that for me, please.
I got it. John 19, verse 20. This title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew and Greek and Latin.
Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. Once again, this time, the word translated Hebrew does from the Strong's Greek section, 1447. Last time it was 46. This is 1447. And it says, Hebraiste. And it says, adverb from G, 1446, Hebraistically, or in the Jewish Chaldee language. So it was written in Aramaic. Still not convinced? Same thing. Let's go back to these parallel Bibles. Dictionary. It's there. I don't understand. I don't understand why they act like they don't want to see this. Y'all better look this stuff up. John 19 and 20. So much for the Hebrew language. Huh?
Can I make a really quick point, right?
Go ahead.
Well, the people with this sacred name doctrine said there's only one name that you could be baptized in. There's only one name under heaven you get salvation, right? One name, right? But we see that the people that crucified the Messiah wrote his name in 3 different languages. But they don't, or they're not pronounced the same.
Yeah. If it said this is Jesus or Yeshua or Yehoshua, King of the Jews, and it was written in 3 different languages, that means the name was transliterated into Greek and Latin. That's what it means. And people who read that, why would they write it? For remember, they were crucifying a Jewish criminal.
Yep.
So who was these 3 different languages written for the benefit of? The Hebrews. So if they wrote it in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin, that had to mean that the Hebrews were speaking Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. They wanted to make sure they understood this in every language they were speaking at the day.
Yep.
So anybody who read it in Greek, if they read it out loud, and by the way, using historical research, people read out loud when they read stuff. You follow what I'm saying? They read it out loud. That means somebody looked at that side and said, this is Jesus, King of the Jews. Or they thought in Latin, this is Jesus, King of the Jews. Or they thought in Aramaic, this is Yeshua, King of the Jews. But you try to say, well, it's only one name under which we may be saved. Yeah, one authority.
One authority.
Not one pronunciated name, one authority. How do I know that? Because when Paul was casting out demons in the name of the Messiah. Some guy said, I adjure thee, talk to the demons, by Jesus, whom Paul speaks, come out. The demon said, Jesus I know, Paul I know, but who are you? He had the name. He heard Paul use it, but he didn't have the authority. And that's how you're being saved, by his authority. That's why I said the Father has committed all judgment unto the Son. He has the authority to determine whether you go to hell or go to the kingdom. That's what it means that under one name. It means under his is only one authority. That's why it says, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but through me. It's not talking about his pronunciated name. It's saying only he has the authority to save you. understand how the word name was used in the Middle East. It meant character, it meant reputation, it meant authority. Just like when David told Goliath, I'm coming to you in the name of the Lord of hosts, or Yahweh of hosts, or Yahuwah of hosts. When he said, I'm coming to you in that name, he was saying, I represent that God.
That's right.
That's by whose authority I'm going to defeat you. Through his authority. He is giving me the power to beat you. That's what authority means, power.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't even understand that. Because they don't know scholarship. Y'all keep getting schooled by people who drop out of school. Y'all got to stop that, man. I'm telling y'all, Israel, y'all got it bad, boy. Y'all love the dummies and hate the intellectuals.
It's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to show you the same thing. We just read John 19 and 20. We finna wind it down. I'll hit them with two more. Well, one more, and that'll be it. John 19 and 20. We're reading it in the NIV. It says what language these were written in, right?
Mm-hmm.
John 19 and 20. Look what it says. It says, many of the Jews read this time, for the place where Jesus was crucified was near the city, and the sign was written in Aramaic, Latin, and Greek. Not Hebrew, brothers. Aramaic. Why do you think these other translations put that in? Because if you look it up, that's what it's talking about. Right? New Living Translation. John 9 and 20. Look what it says. So they took Jesus and led him away. Oh, I read too far. I went all the way up there. 20. The place where Jesus was crucified was written in Hebrew, Latin, Greek, so that many people could read it. Again, a heading telling you Aramaic. It says right here, John 19 and 20. Well, not right here, but in this one right here. You know what I'm saying? It says, let me pick it up. It says, many of the Jews read the inscription for the place where Jesus was crucified in the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. It's a little A next to this Hebrew right here. And it says right here, Jewish Aramaic. Jewish Aramaic. Come on, y'all. But y'all already heard the history. So why is it so hard to believe? History is against you. The Strong's Concordance is against you. Other translations of the Bible are against you. Geography is against you. But yet you want to debate ABT. Wow. And people wonder why I don't like to debate people on stuff like this. Because I don't want to argue documented history. It would be like a white man coming on here and trying to debate me that slavery didn't take place. It's too documented. It's too well documented to debate it. He just don't want to believe it. Let's go to two more. Acts chapter 2. I know I'm keeping y'all a long time, but this information was long overdue. Acts chapter 2. We only got to speak Hebrew. Give me a break. We've been reading all kinds of languages. We didn't even touch on Joseph speaking Egyptian. He had to speak to his brother by interpreter. Not to mention how some of the stuff, I could have read you in another story, that the Hebrew language also influenced by the Egyptian language when the children of Israel was in captivity to the Egyptians. That's in another source. Look that up. Give me a break. This ain't debatable.
Yeah, before you begin, Josh, just to let them know, you only have 6 minutes on the air, guys. We have 6 minutes on the air. However, we got a lot more show. We have another hour left, but we got to go into the overtime part of the show. If you're listening via social media or via internet, you have to call in before the time is up to hear the rest of the show. The number is 646-716-7320, or if you're listening via Skype, you have to call in now before the time runs out. We have a lot more show for you guys. We're going to go to the people in a few minutes and get some questions. Once again, the number is 646-716-7320. Got a question, press the number 1, and we'll add you in. Go ahead, Josh.
Okay, Acts chapter 2. Y'all know about the day of Pentecost, verses 1 to 8. Y'all know about, well, we ain't going to read verse 1 to 8. We're just going to pick it up. Y'all know that the Holy Ghost came down, many tongues fell on the people. Start reading that verse 7. Read verses 7 and 8. Read that.
Is it my turn?
Yes.
Yeah, just say
okay. Acts 2 and 7. And they were all amazed and marveled saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans?
Was not all these who speak Galileans? The people on the day of Pentecost, they were Galileans. That's where they were from. But what did they hear? Go ahead and read.
Verse 8, and how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born?
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me, Laval, that as late as the New Testament, people were still speaking based on where they were born? They were speaking language based on where they were born?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't believe that happened with Abraham, when that was the beginning of how things happened. You born over there, that's the tongue you speak.
Yep.
Now in the book of Acts, they said we hear them speak in the language we were born. And it's going to give you the languages. Go ahead and read them.
Okay, verse 9.
And these are Hebrew Israelites. It said Jews from every nation under the sun. These are Hebrew Israelites, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go ahead and read.
Verse 9. It was Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea, and Cappadocia, and Pontus and Asia,
Mm-hmm.
Phrygia, and Pamphylia, in Egypt, and in parts of Libya, about Cyrene, the strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Cretes and Arabians. We do hear them speak in our tongue the wonderful works of God.
All of these places he just named were places where Hebrew Israelites were living. And he said, we hear you speak in our tongue the wonderful works of God. In other words, they were praising God. They heard them praising God in these languages. And you trying to tell me every time they got to the son name, they made sure it stayed in Hebrew. Which one even know Hebrew at that time, because this is the common language, so they would have said it in Aramaic. They say the Hebrew for temple study. You know what I'm saying? That's how they use the Hebrew language. I'm not saying it was absolutely, most definitely never spoken, but common everyday language was Aramaic. We proved that. Jesus even had Aramaic words in the writings. We read that. It was so many dialects of Aramaic, they're just in Israel area alone and the surrounding cities and stuff. Now we get into the Israelites who didn't stay in Jerusalem or stay in Israel, but they're coming up to keep the holy days. Mm-hmm. And it tells you all these languages Israel was speaking. And when they came back, they had to speak Aramaic too to understand when they got to to keep the holy days. Israel were a bilingual people. That means if they was in Media, the Medes, they were praising God in the language of the Medes. And whatever way you transliterated the name, or the name for the word for Adonai or master, that's what they did. If they was in Greek, whatever name they had for whatever transliteration they had for the Tetragrammaton, if they said it, that's how they said it. They transliterated it. And if English was back here, whatever name they had in English, that's what they would have said. There's nothing in here that tells you that they made sure it stayed in the Hebrew language when they spoke it. There's nothing in here, and there's no reason for them to do that because Hebrew ain't a pure language anyway. Let's go to the last one. Let's go to Revelation 7. Revelation 7. Shouldn't even have to do a class like this. Grown men. Some of y'all got degrees. And the way you reason is like children. Y'all the first one, man, you need to do your research. And then you do that, and the first thing they do, I don't want to hear that. If you old, stuck in your ways, I can accept that. But I'm not going to let you jam up this section. I want to talk to people who actually got some research. In fact, I want somebody to call in who has a Bible dictionary other than any of the ones I went to, or a Bible concordance other than the Strong's for some of the words I went to. Somebody unbiased. And I want them to call in and honestly read what it says. But now, the ones who are not biased, who support ABT and love us, they'll do it. But the people, our haters, they ain't going to do it. Because if they do that, they would have to admit that they were wrong about a lot of stuff. Like Antoine mentioned, I was just reading in my Bible dictionary. It says the same thing. I don't even know what Bible dictionary was that, Antoine.
I'm using the Holman Concise Bible Dictionary.
Right, it's a Holman, but it's different from the one I got, right?
Yeah, different from the one you have.
And there are many Bible dictionaries online. Free. You just go online and just look them up. That's all I want my people to do is do some research. Right? I got some more. I'll show you some more Canaanite stuff, right? Revelation 7, 9 to 11. Let's see who the people were in the kingdom, where they came from, where they came from. Go ahead and read.
Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations, and all kindreds, and people, and tongues, stood before the throne, and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes, and palms in their hands.
This is a vision of the saints in heaven. Notice it said where these people came from. It says, of all nations, and kindreds. That means races, by the way, sisters and brothers. Look it up. All nations do too. And tongues, that means languages, stood before the throne. Tongues. Not one. Tongues. How did they get in the kingdom? Because they worshiped God in whatever tongue or language they spoke. They said his name. No, names don't change when you go from one language to another. That is a lie. Names don't change if you speak it. Like, I can go to Japan right now, and they'll say, what's your name? I'm going to say, Brother Joshua. And they'll say, hey, Brother Joshua, or Joshua. Well, what happens if they're writing about me? And they write down my name in their language. It ain't gonna sound like Joshua no more, y'all. Because the Japanese language don't have all the necessary letters to enunciate my name. Just like Greek did not have all the necessary letters to enunciate the Messiah's name. So you got to sound it out the best way you can with the alphabet of the language you use. So you're going to get something that sounds different. You're not going to maintain the same sound. So now that's it from one language to another. Then you got one language. Before you even go to another language, that language has a bunch of sub-dialects. So that's going to make some stuff sound different. And then you translate the name from one of them sub-dialects into another language. And then you translate the name from another sub-dialect into another language. Already, you got 4 different ways of how that sounds. You've only did 2 translations. And then that language that you translating in, what if that language has many dialects in it? Do y'all see what I'm getting at? At the end of the day, before it's all said and done, you're going to have all kinds of pronunciations for the name. And that's exactly what y'all got today. Don't you see the truth of God working through you Hebrew Israelites? That's why Awada Sartman says Yahweh and Brother Andre says Yahuwah. It's not because Awada is wrong. It's not because Brother Andre is wrong. It's because they are just carrying out exactly what our Hebrew forefathers went through. Different dialect gives different pronunciation. Minister Bennett is not wrong because he says Yahushua, and Brother Andre is not wrong because he says Yahusha. Different dialect gonna give you different pronunciations. What the world are we debating about? Which dialect should we use? Which dialect of the Hebrew should we use? You just telling me Hebrew. Hebrew had all kinds of dialects. I showed y'all that. Which one should we use? It's time for us to stop fighting. Come together. You follow what I'm saying? I don't reject no name because I know it's just a dialect. And God ain't never had a problem with a dialect. You follow what I'm saying? You can go read in the book of Judges that the northern side, they had a pronunciation for Shibola. One person pronounced it Sibola. Another person pronounced it Shibola. Mm-hmm. This was still in the land. That alone shows you different dialects for the Hebrew language. There's no right and wrong in this, sisters and brothers. There's no this name is better than that name. They're all dialects. So as you can see, sisters and brothers, I have showed you the Hebrew language lie exposed. I've showed you that Hebrew is not a pure language, never was. It developed from several other languages. I showed you that your Bible says that when God divided the nations, he divided according to their languages. And whatever language you, whatever land that language was in, if you were born in that language, that land, that's the language you spoke. Abraham was born in Ur of the Chaldees, that language was Babylon. You can't say it was Hebrew because I showed you through history that Hebrew came much later. In fact, it developed from Aramaic along with other languages. I showed you that even in the New Testament, Aramaic. I showed you that the Hebrew language picked up several other dialects from other nations. Every time Israel went into captivity with a major empire, they picked it up. I even showed you that the Hebrew language in the poetry literature, like Psalms, Job, Songs of Solomon, Ecclesiastes, from the Canaanite. Your own Bible even calls it the language of Canaan. I mean, what do you need to see? All of this stuff is designed to divide. ABC ain't interested in division. We're trying to bring all y'all together. Because I don't care if you say Yahuwah, Yahweh, you know what I'm saying? Jehovah, Yahweh. If you teaching people that they need to keep the commandments of the Most High God and have faith in the Messiah regardless of what name you call him, and you ain't restricting your name as the only one God approves and everybody else name the one that could deal, then you can suck with ABT, stand at the outside and teach anytime. But if you telling people you got the name and you only got it and everybody else's name is wrong and you just having a party and everybody else and you got the one true name, then you can keep it moving because you can't prove that. And if we can't prove it, we ain't going to use it. See you next time. Now you can go to the phone.
All right, guys. I know you got like 10 pages of notes out there. Got a whole lot of notes, man. It's a lot of information. Once again, it's the overtime part of the show. We're going to go to the people out there. We have people patiently waiting. I appreciate the patience, waiting for the, for the question part of the show. But I felt like the information was important for you to hear first before we go to the people. Once again, today's show is entitled The Hebrew Language Only Lie Exposed. The show is archived. If you missed any part of the show, you can always go back and check it out, www.blogtalkradio.com/debate talk for you. Let's go to the people. You got to do this press the number 1, and we'll add you in. Let's see what the people got to say. Let's go to 661-748. Live on air. 661-748.
Hello?
How you doing? Welcome to the show. You're live on air. Can you hear me?
Oh,
go on once.
Shalom. This is just. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you, brother. Shalom.
Shalom, this is Jesse from South Korea, man. Shalom to the brothers, man. Brother Josh and Antoine. There's a reader. I don't know his name, but shalom and blessings to you, too.
What's up, Jesse?
Right. Yeah, South Korea. It's morning time over there. I appreciate the
call. Oh, it's Jesse, man. Ain't no time, no here, bro. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I can't hear myself on this. I'm using a wireless headset, and I can't hear my own voice. I guess there's a delay in my voice, but anyway, I'm doing pretty good, man. And it was about a year ago that I called into the show and I spoke with you, Josh, and you were doing the virgin birth debate, and I called in with my level of madness, but I've been educated and I've been taught well by you brothers, and I thank you to this day for that understanding.
Praise up. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah, praise Yahweh, praise all of them.
I do have a question. You spoke of the name. You said name correlates to authority or power. Is that correct?
Yeah, when Jesus said, when he says in the book of Acts, by no other name under heaven can we be saved. Remember, there were many people, many Israelites at that time, who had that same name. Jesus or Yeshua was a very common name in Israel. So it wasn't talking about the actual enunciation of the name. It was talking about the authority that belonged to a certain person that bear that name. By that name, by that authority. That's why Jesus also said, all power is given to me in heaven and earth. That means all authority.
Absolutely. My question was in the book of Psalms, chapter 138. With that understanding you gave, I wanted the understanding on this verse.
Psalm 138 and what verse?
Yeah, verse 2, please.
Psalm 138 and verse 2. I will praise thee with my whole heart. Before the gods I will sing praise thee. I will worship toward thy holy temple and praise thy name for thy loving kindness and for thy truth, for thou hast magnified thy word above all thy name. Well, two things. When it says in the Bible that you're going to praise God's name, that's just another way of saying you're going to praise him. When it says you magnified your word above your name, it means exactly what I suspect you're getting out of it. You follow what I'm saying?
It's like maybe like keeping the commandments. I guess if his word is magnified above his name,
keeping the commandments is more important than magnifying his name.
Right. That was my understanding of it. Okay, then I was cool. And thanks, Sal, for having this great show, man. I've learned so much, man, in the time I learned of this show. Thank you so much.
Praise God, man.
Appreciate you calling in, man. Appreciate you calling in all the way from South Korea. That's what's up, man.
Yeah, right.
Appreciate that. All right, man. We got to go to the people. Let's see what they got to say. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 252-883. You're live in air.
Peace, Brother Sal.
Hey, Brother Raheem, what's going on?
What's going on? Salam to Brother Josh, LeVar, and Antoine.
Shalom, Raheem.
Salam.
Shalom alaikum. That's what they often say. Shalom alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Or wa alaikum shalom. It's the same thing in that same language.
Same thing.
As you talk about.
Yep.
You can say shalom alaikum or alaikum. You know, it's the same thing. You giving the lesson. Tonight I listened, and I listened to Awar. I listened to the brother that came before Awar. He said one thing that was right, and then I listened to that first caller, and it's like the subject that Josh is talking about, they wanted to go into another topic almost to debate Josh. Which one?
Bingo.
See. Let me just cut you off for 1 second, Raheem. I promise I need to say it. It's amazing, LeVar and Antoine, that he sees that, because that's exactly what we be saying to each other.
Yep. That's what I said. I said bingo. He picked it up that quick. Raheem peep game quick.
Yep, he peep game. See?
Exactly. The thing was, I don't like. I think LeVar said it best. I wouldn't want to see Josh debate LeVar to debate Awar, because he'd be destroy him, because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like, I can't even explain it. He's ridiculous. He's ridiculous because he's talking about something else. You're talking about Hebrew being the only pure language, and he goes way off track to something else. And I'm sitting here like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And you gave, like, I got the Bibles, the NIV, the RSV, the NSAB, and every other B in the world, you know what I'm saying? And you proved it out of the Bible, historically, geographically, you gave it to them all. You get what I'm saying? I just wanted to take a little time to give you something else, because, like you said, somebody could call in with some other sources just to back up your source. Because I don't have to go in the NIV now. You done did it. You get what I'm saying? Jacinius Hebrew grammar. Oh, before I even go into that, I'm letting people know I am trained in Arabic. I read, write, and speak it. Hebrew, Phoenician, Canaanite, Akkadian, which is older than Hebrew.
Which I read.
Exactly. So I just want to let people know my credentials. I can go into them deeply, but I don't got time for that. I'm going to just read a couple of things. From the Jacinius Hebrew grammar, it says Hebrew language is one of a great family of languages in Western Asia, which was indigenous in Palestine, Phoenicia, Syria, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, Assyria, and Arabia. That is to say, in the countries extending from the Mediterranean to the other side of the Euphrates and Tigris, and from the mountains of Armenia to the southern coast of Arabia. It says is of the great family. It didn't say it was the pure first language. It said it's of the family. Now, which family that comes from is from Shem. Josh, is Shem before Abraham or Abraham before Shem?
Shem is before Abraham. That's why they're called Shemitic languages and not Abrahamic languages.
Exactly. Because when we take all these languages, I think I sent you some stuff where from the Encyclopedia America Hebrew Language and Literature, published 1831, where you see Sumerian, Old Hebrew, and Phoenician, the letters look the same because Hebrew got it from the Phoenicians, which Phoenician is from Canaanite.
Canaanite, exactly.
I think I sent you that, and you see the letters. Now, when you're dealing with those Semitic languages, they start off with Aleph and Ba, and then they may change up. But if you look in the middle, all the languages, Arabic, Hebrew, Aramaic, Syriac come from Aramaic, if people didn't know. All of them have Lam, Mim, and Nun. Those stay the same. From Mba, Lam, Mim, Nun, all stay the same. Now, they may switch up because some may have 22 letters, some may have 28 letters. You get what I'm saying? So, it's like, it's not the beginning language. It comes from somewhere else. You get what I'm saying? Now watch this. From Dr. Jeff A. Benner. He says, modern Hebrew, also called Aramaic square script, which we see every day. This is the font that is used today in Hebrew Bibles and books, as well as alphabet used in Israel today. Then he goes into Hebrew Late Semitic, which is from Shem. This is the Hebrew script used in Great Isaiah Scroll and is representative of Hebrew found in most Dead Sea Scrolls, right? Then you go to Paleo Hebrew, which is the Middle Semitic. It's not saying it's the beginning. It says from Middle Semitic. It's coming from somewhere. It's not the beginning. Hebrew is not before Shemek or Shem. And it says this is the Hebrew alphabet that is in use from about 12,000 BCE. See, I'm giving you time place now. BCE and until the 1st century CE. You get what I'm saying? So in order for, I got a lot more. In order for a war to go deeply in that and say you're wrong, he has to bring something that's tangible that can go against that. Now, I want to read two more things. Dr. G. Zuckerman, University of Cambridge, UK. Hebrew was spoken by the Jewish people after the so-called conquest of Israel, around 13th century BCE, following a gradual decline. Even Jesus, King of the Jews, was a native speaker of Aramaic rather than Hebrew. It ceased to be spoken by the 2nd century AD, page 485, Encyclopedia Languages of the World.
That's just too much proof tonight. My head was literally hurt.
Let me give you two more, and I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna just shut up, and you tell me if I'm right. Aramaic language, from Wikipedia. It says Aramaic is a group, just like I just read before, of a family. Aramaic is a group of Semitic languages with a 3,000-year history. Now that's before Hebrew came into play. Now watch this. It has been the language of administration of empires and the language of divine worship. It is original language of large sections of the biblical books, Daniel and Ezra.
That's what I read.
Which is called Ezra. And is the main language of the Talmud. Aramaic was the native language of Jesus. This is from another script. From another piece of
Hold on, Raheem. Yo, we got a lot of callers, man.
We get it, Raheem. We get it.
My bad. All right, y'all have a blessed night, man. Peace.
Peace. But let me just say this to him, too. The first brother who called in argued with me off of Debate Talk for You. The Aramaic was not the spoken language of Jesus. We've been reading that all night from multiple sources. Raheem came in and gave out, 5, 4? something like that. They all confirm what I'm saying. I'm not lying to y'all, Debate Talk for You. They lying to you. This is a Muslim. He has no reason to agree with me. He's just doing research on language. This ain't hard to find. So why are these brothers attacking me? You need to ask them, what do you have against Josh doing research? But say I go to the other callers.
Or find us.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ryan. Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to add one thing, and the thing I couldn't understand, I don't.
You sound kind of low to me, Antoine. I'm just saying.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you better now, yeah.
All right, yeah. I was just saying, the one thing I didn't understand about awards call in particular was that, we've done topics, kind of similar to this before on the show, and he's actually called in and
he actually still on. I'm gonna bring him back in a few minutes.
But his thing, like he actually agreed. The thing is, what we were saying, I don't know if he was just trying to find fault with this lesson, but he's actually called in and testified that because the award's been in this thing for a long time. He testified.
Yep. He said the Hebrew language was lost. He said that. I remember.
Yep. And he also testified that he's lost brothers. Like he started in this truth with a lot of brothers, and they got caught up in this name game and went straight over to either side. And Warren testified to that. So that's why I was kind of like, why is he? I mean, I don't know if he's just trying to find fault with this, or I don't know what it was, or maybe I don't know what was going on. But that kind of struck me like kind of odd. I was like, dang, I thought he kind of agreed with that because he testified.
I think it was just a simple misunderstanding on his part because his question was, are we saying that Aramaic was the pure language? I think he just misunderstood us because we were showing that our father Abraham did speak that language, and we were, we gave a little information. I think he just misunderstood. I got to come in defense of my cousin, y'all.
Well, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt tonight. Just go on to that caller.
All right, once again, guys, I appreciate everybody that called in for the overtime part of the show. If you have a question or comment, simply press the number 1 since you already called in, the overtime part of the show. Once again, press the number 1 and we'll add you in. Let's go to the next person. Let's go to 910-551.
Okay, yeah, this is the ball again. All righty. Now, I don't want you to misconstrue my intent on this because, I'm one of them guys. I've been teaching a long time about that you don't have to learn Hebrew, and I'll be cussing people out about telling me and trying to force on me that I must learn Hebrew and stuff like that. So I agree with that altogether. It's just that the points that you make in your presentation, very detailed presentation. You gotta jot down notes and ask questions about it for clarification for myself or either to correct you if possible. So, I want to get my intent out of the way because, I hear how y'all calling people childish and all this other stuff that people are doing and stuff like that.
I didn't have you in mind, bro. I'm just going to tell you that. I didn't have you in mind.
Okay, no problem. All right. Now, one question I got, it's a lot going on in your presentation. And like I said, the overall mission of what you're trying to say is what I agree with. Now, for example, okay, the 1611, that what would you call the language that we're speaking now today?
Well, anything that's today will be called modern. That's the word modern English.
My fault. I meant to say in America. What language most people speak?
English.
Okay, now what do they call it?
Some people even say American. Some people even say American. I've heard people call it that.
Yeah, American English, yeah.
There you go. Okay, now why do they call it English, though?
Why do they call it what? Because it derived from the King's English over in England. That's why it's called English. It derived from that. It's a derivative of that.
Okay. Now, 400 years ago in the 1611 is a good example of that King's English, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the letters were varied a little bit, right?
Yeah, some letters evolved, like the letter J came from the letter I. In fact, at first, the letter J was just a fancy way to write the letter I, and it eventually evolved into its own alphabet with its own sound, as in J.
Own sound. Right, absolutely. Okay, so can't we apply that type of logic to the Aramaic to Hebrew situation there?
That's exactly what I read that happened. All the different dialects were gained as the Hebrew Israelites encountered different empires. That's exactly what happened. That's what I'm telling you. That's exactly. I'm not applying it. I'm telling you history attests that that's precisely what happened.
Okay, I'm glad you agree with that. Now, this is one thing that I need you to do for me personally, is to justify the Greek scholars, right? I know you said don't bash the scholars because they got a play the Hebrews degree and all that stuff. But right. I need you to justify the Greek scholars' evolution of languages. The evolution of languages, they say progressed over time and all that madness that they said, versus the biblical scattering of the languages, which is the languages developed at the exact same moment in history. And then they migrated to the four corners of the earth.
When you say justify the Greek scholars, it was the Hebrew Israelites. Do historical research on the Septuagint. The first Greek scholars that put their hands on this Bible were Israelites.
You said
the first Greek scholars that was in charge of translating this Hebrew Bible into another language were Hebrew Israelites.
No, what I was talking about.
Those were your first Greek scholars. Also, when you get to the New Testament, look up the language of Galilee.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the Bible. I'm not talking about the Bible translation. I'm talking about
I'm not talking about the Bible translation. I'm talking about the language and the scholars who predate these modern Greek scholars. I'm talking about there is a Greek translation of the Bible that was translated by Hebrew Israelites. Did you know that?
Yeah, of course. But what I'm saying is the evolution of the languages that you presented all night by the scholars, saying that this language came from Phoenician, this language came from Syriac, this language came from Aramaic, this language came from this language came from that.
Yeah.
Okay. Versus when Babylon during the years of Peleg, when everybody got scattered, the languages came into play at the exact same moment in time.
Well, yeah,
they didn't develop from each other.
Bro, you're confusing the Tower of Babel. After the languages split in the Tower of Babel, do you think that was the first and only time dialects was going to keep coming? There are many dialects that continue to develop throughout history after that. That's not hard to prove. What you're saying is, okay, it split at the Tower of Babel. That's it. No, bro. After that, throughout history, languages continue to evolve.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's called Ebonics.
I appreciate that call, brother. Appreciate that call. Once again, it's Debate Talk. Let's bring my brother Awar back in before I get to the rest of the people. Let's bring Awar back in. Get Awar. You on the line?
Yeah, I'm back. Like the brother said, he said it right. I agree with what you're saying as far as the dialects changing through the generations. I agree with that. That's why when you did shows on it before, I called up agreements. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing is this. Going back to Genesis, the 11th chapter, and the first verse. And you said yourself that you can't positively say that one language that was in the beginning, then after that all these other dialects and languages derived, that you can't say that was Aramaic. That's my argument. Can you say
I didn't say that was Aramaic. A wall on the listen, man.
I know. Listen, let me finish. I'm gonna give it to you. Let me finish.
Your questions mislead people, though. Your questions are misleading people because you're setting up questions based on things I didn't say. You got to stop doing that. That's deceptive.
No. Let me finish. You never let me finish. Now, you said that the reason why it couldn't have been Hebrew. Because Hebrew stemmed out of Canaan. That's what you said, right?
I said the reason why it could not. Let me tell you what I said. Stop telling me what I said.
No, I'm just retracting.
Listen, I'm telling you. This has been recorded, bro. I said the language in the Garden of Eden, responding to Jason's comment, could not have been Hebrew because history shows, follow me now, that Hebrew didn't develop until much later. Now, let me ask you a question, Awar. Do you believe that the language spoken of in the Garden of Eden was English?
Was English?
Yes, English. The English we're speaking now. Do you believe that was the language in the Garden of Eden?
No.
Why not?
Because that don't make sense.
Why doesn't it make sense?
Why not?
Why doesn't it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense? Why doesn't it make sense?
You even said it yourself that English is a language of a multitude of different dialects and all that. You know
what I'm saying is, how do you, if somebody came to you and told you, like you just said, that the English was the language spoken in the Garden of Eden, you said no. I asked you why. You said it doesn't make sense. Why doesn't that make sense, Awar? Because you know that the English language did not exist back then. That's how you know. Let's not play games, bro.
Right, but
let's be serious here.
Right.
That's how you know, bro. Come on.
That's why I went to the Bible. Let me finish. That's why I went to the Bible.
They be trying so hard, boy. They be trying
so hard. He ain't gonna let me finish. He ain't gonna let me finish.
Man, go ahead, Award. Let him finish, Josh, man. Let him finish.
I ain't saying nothing. I'm quiet. You know if I'm quiet. I ain't saying nothing.
Yeah, go ahead, Award. You good,
right.
Man. You good.
Right. Because that's what I'm trying to figure out, okay? Because there was one language that everybody spoke, okay? And you said, when the first caller before me, he said that you weren't there during the time of this Tower of Babel, so how can you say that it wasn't Hebrew? And your
argument, he didn't say Tower of Babel. He said Garden of Eden. He said you weren't in the garden. If you're going to quote the brother, quote what he said. He said you weren't, even though I wasn't there during the Tower of Babel either, that's true, but he said you weren't there during the Garden of Eden, so how do you know that the language spoken was not Hebrew? The answer is, and I don't know why you can't understand this, because the Hebrew language had not developed yet. That's called an anachronism. Do you know what an anachronism is? You know what an anachronism is? If you don't know, I'll tell you what it means. An anachronism is a historical inaccuracy. That's what an anachronism is. Saying that the Hebrew language was in the Garden of Eden is an anachronism because it did not exist then. Saying that Jesus, right, was in the tribe, was like walking with David as the Messiah. You wouldn't accept that, Awar, because you know better. You said, wait a minute, brother, your timeline mixed up. The only thing I'm doing. Listen to me. Listen. Let me hold on. Wait. Because Raheem played it closely. Do you? Because I'm going to cut to the chase. Because there are other people. And this is your second time on. Do you believe the research? Yes or no? Do you believe the research? Yes or no? That I presented. Do you believe the research?
Yeah, I believe in research. But I also
Okay. So the research says, if you believe it, what are you arguing about, bro? The research said the Hebrew language came later.
Hold on. You cannot take everything you read from these books, as you call these scholars, as accurate. That's what I'm trying to argue with you about. You take everything.
So you know better. We should listen to you. So you got better insight than they got. That's what you're trying to convince us of tonight. If you believe that, say that, bro. Stop beating around the bush and say I think that I know better than them. Just say that. How can I say that?
No, I'm not saying that. The scriptures say that the wisdom of this world is foolishness. So we
ain't talking about the wisdom of this world. We talking about history. They ain't got nothing to do with no wisdom. That's just documented records of what happened.
That's not wisdom of this world.
That's not wisdom of this world. That's just document what happened.
Hold on. When the scriptures say,
let's move on to the next caller. This is a waste of time. Let's move on to the next caller, Sal. This is a waste of time. You ain't gonna jam me up like you did last time, man. Sal, next caller. It's other people who got more insightful input. I'm not going to argue with Awar about. He's arguing with the research. Either you believe the research or you don't. You said you believe. Nothing else to argue about. Let's move on. Come on, I'm not going to do this.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm about to say, I heard people try to use that argument before about the wisdom of this world is foolishness. I'm like, that's not wisdom. That's just history. Telling what happened. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's basic history, looking up what stuff means. You know what I'm saying? That's not the wisdom of this world. The wisdom of this world, this wicked world that we live in, is telling you that
there is no God.
There is no
more than God.
Yeah, homosexual marriages and all that. That's the wisdom of this world. You know what I'm saying? That's the stuff that's the wisdom of this world.
But you know what, though? Well, Antoine, let's read between the lines here. That's just another fancy way of saying I don't want to accept what the history books are telling me because I want to continue believing what I believe. Yep. That's all they're saying, bro. I'm keeping it 100 tonight.
And hold on, and forget what the people are saying. I mean, they rejecting their own research. LeVar said it last week in his debate a million times. Cats are rejecting the research and history of their own people, written by their own people. How you gonna jump up and claim to be a Hebrew Israelite when Hebrew Israelites are sitting there telling you, you know, where these languages come from, where all this stuff, Philo, Josephus,
right.
I mean, the book, period. They give you all this research, all this history, yet these cats are, I mean, steadily kicking. I'm like, dude, you a Hebrew Israelite. This is your people. Right, and if any scholar you want to believe in, or so you want to believe in your book, your scholars that you had that were living back in that time, those are the things you want to believe, but they just reject all of that because it doesn't agree with their understanding. That's
right.
3,000 year late understanding.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It makes no sense.
If you notice, too, notice that everybody, with the exception of Raheem, who called in with some information, so-called, haven't presented anything contradictory. They got Sal. And debate talk you audience, do not be fooled. Our enemies, or haters as we like to call them, they sitting in their living rooms or their bedrooms or in their cars with their Bible dictionary. Don't think they ain't checking behind us because they want to see if they can catch us. Don't think they ain't checking this stuff out, y'all. Don't be stupid. You know good well they open up and let them see if my Bible dictionary say that. They know it's the truth. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to sit up there and argue with a wall. The brother already said something that's not in the scriptures. That's the end of that. Stop wasting my time. Let's go to the next caller.
Let me bring back 951-350. You're live on air. 951-350. Shalom.
Shalom. I appreciate you opening me back up. I didn't say my name earlier. This is Mikhail, man. And just to address the point, I can't speak for the other people, but when I was my line was opened, it seemed like you asked for the line to be open. It's not like, you know, we were jumping ahead to debate you. I just had some things in my mind as far as where you were at that particular point. So, like I was saying,
again,
this is the brother that was talking about Genesis 10. Okay, I'm just saying. So, no. That's called CYOA. That's called CYOA. That's called CYOA. I'm just saying that's why I was making my point there. Okay, so it's not a point of contention.
That's not the vibe I got from you. I'm letting you know that.
Okay. So when we go back to Genesis 10, brother, and when we talked about all of the things, the beautiful things that you said, you laid out some beautiful things that I think could have been connected a little bit deeper, but I think you probably would have needed more time to do that. But the main point I want to talk to you about is you talked about transliteration and translation a little bit. Okay, these things are very important. I'm a Torah reader. I read Hebrew for a while. I've been doing this, and I'm using the scriptures. It's a literal translation here, and it says all of what you said about the Aramaic, and the changes when it goes from, in Daniel and certain other scriptures that have Aramaic input, which are the same as they are in my Torah. In my Torah, there is a Aramaic Targum and the Hebrew print, and they're linked because of the idiom usage that connects those languages. But the point you made about the Aramaic, you kept hammering on that, and I'm saying to myself, okay, this is what I said in the beginning about being contradictory. It's not that I was trying to come against you and debate you, because it's not a debate. The point is, if you're talking about the Aramaic language versus the daughter language and close dialect, why don't you use that scripture? You said the word Peshitta. I
said, listen to me, I'm going to answer your question. I don't use that scripture. Did you not hear me say it doesn't matter? I use the language that I'm speaking.
When I say translation and transliteration, brother, don't you understand that it is very imperative?
Translation means taking the meaning of something from one language to
another.
Means
straight. Yeah, and Peshitta means straight.
Means trying to make a word in one language sound as close as it can in another language. That's transliteration. From the two words trans, which means to change or move, and literate, which means make readable or legible. So what you're trying to do is make something in one language legible or readable or understandable in another one.
Great.
Let me say, I've used Peshitta before. I've used the Peshitta before. I've used the Septuagint. You've seen me go to all these other books. I have no problem with these other books. I'm telling you, I don't see any real benefit of dropping one book entirely. You ain't never heard me say the King James better than the NIV or the Septuagint better than the King James. I said that the Septuagint was first, but what book do you see me teaching out of?
Okay, can I express to you the need to use? Can I express to you the need to use what the Torah says? These two hands that need to clap together to get the correct punch from the Hebrew or the Aramaic.
No, because you're going off.
Brother, hold on. Let me say what I'm saying, brother. Hold on for 1 second.
No.
Just let me make a period, brother. Hold on.
You're doing the same.
See, you thinking I'm debating you, and you think I'm debating you.
Listen. The title of this class.
Man, you've been talking for 2 hours. Come on, man.
Hold on, bro. Hold on.
No.
Time, man. I'm gonna bring you back.
No, listen. He's doing exactly what Raheem said. I proved that Hebrew is not the only language that the Hebrews use. I proved that. That's the purpose of this class. I'm not here to get into a debate over which Bible is the best, the Peshitta or this. That's exactly what Raheem said they do, and that's what we all been saying they do. I don't want to talk about that. All I want to know is, did you see that the Hebrew language is not the only language that they use, and that they worship God in another language based on where they were born, as stated in Genesis 10 and in Acts chapter 2. I don't want to bring this brother back on, Sam, because he's trying to take the conversation in an entirely different direction. And I don't want to do that. Let's stay focused. I'm tired of people trying to throw these smoke screens out there. He may not even intentionally be doing it. That happens sometimes by accident. You talk about one thing and it relates to another, and before you know it, you talking about 10 conversations later, you all on something else. You know, you mentioned the Aramaic. I didn't mention the Aramaic to emphasize the importance of the Aramaic language. That's not why I did that. But that's what he's getting out of that. That's not why I did that. I just went there to show y'all that that's the language they were speaking. The end. How is this going to turn into a debate over, or a thesis, or a discourse over the benefits of using the Peshitta versus the King James? No, brother, I ain't going there. Let's stay on topic. Next caller, please, Sal.
We can actually pretty much wrap it up. Everybody else that pressed the number one, I guess they either got tired of waiting or they got the information that they needed. So if you want to get into some more information, you can, or you can pretty much wrap it up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to throw some more out there. LeVar, go ahead and let's deal with these names. Let's go to John chapter 142. I think the heart's already dead. They don't chop it up, made glue all of it. Now let's burn the glue. Let's go to John chapter 1. Because the brother tried to argue with me that Cephas was a Hebrew name.
Are you serious?
Yep.
Wow.
John chapter 1.
Verse 42.
Read that for me, please.
And he brought him to Jesus, and when Jesus beheld him, he said, Thou art Simon, the son of Jonah. Thou shalt be called Cephas, which is by interpretation a stone.
Now, he called him Cephas. Now, if the Hebrew Israelites were just super Hebrew when it came to who they are and the names they chose, well, the Messiah just named Simon Cephas, right? What we're going to do, we're going to go to the Strong Concordance, and we're going to look up the word translated Cephas, and let's see if it was a Hebrew name or Aramaic name. And the word is from 2786 in the Greek section, and the word is Cephas. And it says, call the origin. What's called the, LeVar?
Aramaic.
Look what it says. And it says, compare with Hebrew 3:17. But his name, Cephas, is called the origin, and it means the rock, surname of Peter. It's an Aramaic name. But that makes sense because all the information and proof shows that's the language they were speaking. But the Messiah himself gave Cephas an Aramaic name. But you're going to try to tell me we only need to deal with the Hebrew. Let's look at another example of that. Let's go to Mark chapter 15, 34. Like I said, I don't have any problem with people disagreeing. But if you notice, everybody who disagrees with us, nobody is addressing the material. They talking around it, they talking over it, and they're trying to veer this conversation off somewhere else. When I showed y'all that Abraham spoke Aramaic, I did not do it for the intent of promoting or saying that the Aramaic language is the best translation of the Bible to use. That was not my intent, so don't read that into that. If I wanted to teach that, I would plainly say that. I would plainly say, get you a Peshitta. That's the best translation of the Bible to use. Deal with the Aramaic. I did not say that. So don't try to veer off into that. If the book says that Abraham spoke Aramaic and that's the language he was born in, well, there's nothing else to talk about. We shouldn't argue this. We should come together. I'm not your enemy. I'm not trying to deceive anybody. Raheem is a freaking Muslim. And the only thing he's doing is going behind me. He did not use a single source I used. He went behind me looking up their stuff. You know Raheem gonna check you on history anyway. That's what he do.
Mm-hmm.
He went behind me. And he just called the brick house. If I was lying, y'all know Raheem have made videos about me. Raheem made a recent video about me, going in on me. He still let it know he don't agree with me. But when it comes to this stuff right here, stuff that all you got to do is pick up a freaking book and read, Raheem, though a Muslim, see, they got more sense than y'all Hebrew Israelites when it comes to just going to a freaking library. Don't pick up a book. Look it up. It's not hard. We sit up here, Awar want to argue with me. Yeah, man. Dude, do you believe the research? Well, see, the wisdom of this world. That's just a nice little way of saying the historical research I brought is totally invalid. Because that's just the wisdom of this world. Okay, so let's go with the wisdom of a war and read a made-up story about Eber giving an imaginary charge from God to preserve the Hebrew language. Let's believe that. Is it really a wonder why that many people gave up? Now, nobody want to press one. They ain't that stupid. Ain't nobody in their right mind who got a shred of sense and following everything we say about to call in here and try to debate this. I got to give them credit. They got way more sense than that. Ain't nobody can do that. That's why the switchboard is empty. This is indisputable. All you can call in is just disagree because you don't like it, or most importantly, you don't like us. That's all you can do. This right here is Mark chapter 15:34. One of y'all get that for me. We'll end it at that, fam.
Mark 15, verse 34 says, and at the ninth hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani, which is being interpreted, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Eloi, Eloi, right? Some of the last words the Messiah uttered on the cross. Let's see what the word Eloi, Eloi means, right? Which is a derivative and can be related to Allah, Allah. You follow what I'm saying? This right here is the Greek, 1682, and the word is Eloi, and it says of call the origin, meaning my God. How many times tonight, with the amount of information we presented, plus the score of information Raheem Ali added to it, have we proven that not only is Hebrew not a pure language, it is a language that was not spoken, it was not a pure language, it did not exist after several other languages, and Aramaic was the language spoken during the time of Jesus Christ. I have lost count of how many times we have proven that. We don't show you all these different dialects. You can go anywhere. At the end of the day, look over that one, they just got to put down research all together. They just got to put it down. And just be like, just a personal revelation. Because the second you open up a single source, we going to get you. Debate Talk for you. We appreciate y'all listening. For everybody that stayed on this long, y'all some dedicated soldiers. I got to tell you. That includes the water swordsman. Because he still, despite agreeing or disagreeing, he still hung in here to almost 4 hours. You feel? That says something. You know what I'm saying? And the other brother, too, who called in, Mikael, I think his name was, right? But let me just give some contact information. We have classes, as I said at the beginning, every week. And this is the same style we bring every class in. We pound you with information. We want you to know this, sisters and brothers. We're on Blog Talk every week. Blog Talk Radio. The dial-in number is 646-716-8249. We have classes every week at 4 o'clock or 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Again, the call-in number is 646-716-8249, or you can listen in online just like you're doing now on Debate Talk for You by going to blogtalkradio.com/Absolute Bible Truth. Again, it's blogtalkradio.com/Absolute Bible Truth. LeVar and Antoine, do y'all have anything y'all want to add before we sign off?
Shabbat shalom, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, same thing. Shabbat shalom. Enjoyed the lesson. Enjoyed everybody listening. Called in. Thank you, Sal, for providing this forum. And that's it.